Good morning. Welcome in on a Friday here at Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, and we've got a good show for you this morning. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we've got Taylor Stormberg. He's the Creighton color analyst for the radio call, and he will – hopefully he's not getting on a plane unscheduled because of the loss last night, but – the plan is to talk to Taylor this morning, also a former J. 9 o'clock, we've got our guy Mike Sautter, who's up in Minnesota. Yeah, he's a Big Ten, right? Yeah, I think he's a Big Ten.
Yes.
I forget who's all everywhere. Jacob's in New York, Mike's in Minnesota. We will talk to Mike at 9 as Nebraska gets ready to kick off their postseason today against Indiana, which is who you wanted. Right?
No. Well,
you said
my
you didn't
preference
want Penn
over
State.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's what I meant.
I could say I'm not hungry, but it doesn't mean I won't eat. I would have preferred Indiana
over Penn State.
Okay,
so there you go. And then we'll wrap up the show.
I mean, the context matters.
Well, that's all I meant. I mean, there was only two options.
Yeah, I feel like holding you accountable this morning already.
Was it because I've been a little out of pocket on Twitter? Is that?
Well, you are nuts. No. Social media is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I had to look. Last night I was like, Trev, you don't typically run your Twitter account. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are we doing here, bud?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I think he's trolling.
No.
I mean, it was. I had to. There were a couple times I had to take a double take.
And then we'll wrap up the show with Matt Vrzal, who I'm sure doesn't have any feelings about what happened this week.
Oh, yeah. Maddie's on edge.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a recurring theme.
Let's start with the Trev Alberts tweets here, because there's a couple things that came out with Trev last night that I don't think were a great look for him.
What's that?
Trev, both the tweet and the interview with Sam McKewon.
What's it?
Huh?
What's that?
What's that?
Huh?
An interview? It's where you talk to someone, you ask questions, they answer.
Was it the tempura kind, or lightly battered, or extra crispy? What kind of nuggets do you think old Sammy McKewon?
I don't know, but
I got a pickle.
Yeah. I think there was some low-key spicy ones in there that Trev gave for answers. Let's start with Sam, because that's more concrete stuff than Twitter. Twitter's just me being petty.
And Twitter you have to kind of read into. Although I will say this, I had zero problems.
Yeah.
None with him. He as in Trevor tweeting to and about Dennis LeBlanc. No problems there.
I didn't. You know what? It was two words that got me.
Okay. Go ahead.
I assume that him and Dennis are close.
Yeah, 37 years.
Yeah, I assume that he's very happy for Dennis to get this opportunity.
100%.
So that didn't have a problem with.
Dennis is whatever job he does. It doesn't matter where he. Dennis is overwhelmingly a student athlete favorite.
Yeah, that's what it seems like based on the reaction on Twitter. Like it seems like people love this guy. It seems like no matter what role he's had, he's been good at it.
He's a good hard worker, and he's honest.
And when you care about the people you're working towards, and you're gonna be good at your job most of the time.
I'm a huge fan.
My issue wasn't the congratulations. It was the right move. Nobody asked you, Trev.
No, stop.
No.
Stop.
No.
Stop it.
Nobody asked him. It is not his his circus anymore.
Where's my Michael Jordan gift?
Not his circus anymore.
Stop it.
Not his deal anymore.
Cut it out.
Get out of here.
Stop it.
Send a text to your friend. All right. You can text Dennis, tell him congratulations.
Stop it.
Get out of here. With your Texas A&M Twitter logo.
What do you want him to do?
Put a picture of your face up there, bud. Don't be one of these faceless Twitter losers. He didn't have a Nebraska logo when he was the 80 at Nebraska.
Who was he, Trevor?
It was just him.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden you're not the same person because you went to Texas A&M?
Hey, maybe he couldn't crop a shot that he liked with no gear on.
Oh, you don't have just a single headshot. You're an athletic director.
So listen,
you make $1.7 million a year, and you can't find a headshot anywhere.
This is the most petty Nebraska fan.
100%. Right move my ass. Get out of here. We didn't ask you.
Like, who are you?
You don't want to. I'm the voice of the people, DB. You don't want to be here. You don't want to make the decision.
Hey,
then
Shane,
don't tell us right move, wrong move.
Who's the people's champion? Is it?
I'll put somebody else as the interim just because you said that. Get out of here.
Would you stop?
I won't stop.
That's the only one that I wasn't really. That's the only one I didn't really struggle with.
That's fine. I'm sure he's the right move, but I want to hear from Trev. Get out of here. No, imagine this. Imagine. Okay, hear me out. We're both divorced, right? Like, imagine your ex-wife comes up to you when you start dating your new wife and says, "Oh, good move."
Well, that's happened.
Well, you have kids. That's different. If mine had said that, I'd have dumped her on the spot.
You didn't,
Get out.
You didn't tell me you fell in love with the babysitter. I heard that.
Like, if your ex comes up to you and is like, "Oh, that's the right move," I'd be like, "F off. I don't care what you think."
No, but see, we're different.
That's fine.
We're different. I'm a lot more.
I think you're the weird one in this situation.
Maybe,
though,
but you know what?
Being honest,
it just fits my personality, right? I'm not typically, and that's why when it goes south, it goes all the way south. Like the 1/10% is pretty bad once I go there emotionally.
Sure.
Right? But 99.
It's like you have an incredibly long fuse.
Oh, 100%.
But once it's lit, this thing is
almost
over.
It's self-destructive. It is very volatile. But 99.99% of the time, I'm not giving anybody else the ability to control my emotions. And it's not something that it's like it's just a competitor in me. It didn't even birth from being the right thing to do. So
that's fair,
right? Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, "Oh, why is D?" No, it didn't birth from a good place. It was birthed from a spot like I'll show you.
Yeah.
Then when I learned to kind of control and channel it, it became a strength.
Sure.
It's like I can do it in social media and confrontations. I can handle disagreements publicly because I think that's why I like to coach in crunch time. Like, hey, what do we got to do at half? Because I think I can keep. I love practicing blocking out the noise.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's your clear the mechanism deal.
Yeah, but you know, like last September when it goes south and I can't control it, it goes all the way south.
Yeah, it's like a full tailspin.
Yeah, right. So it's like that didn't bother me because I think I'm telling you, it came from a good place.
That's fine. Read the room.
No, so what? Like
read the room.
But why are you owning that?
Because listen, he burned the thing to the ground.
He's clearly upset.
Well, yeah, so are we.
Yeah, no, yeah. And
everybody's upset here.
In full disclosure, I mean, like, if I'm being honest, like last night almost got me to, and somebody tweeted at me, I can't remember who it was, but they're like, "You mad yet?"
No, it's 2 nights ago, and you're like, "I'm going to be mad for a while."
No.
Oh, that was okay.
No,
that was the initial.
This is fresh.
Okay.
He quote tweeted something Trev said, and he's like, "You mad yet?" Because yesterday I was like, I wasn't even.
You were
mad.
disappointed.
I was disappointed.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm like, getting there.
I was,
if I'm being honest, like, getting there.
Yeah. Yesterday is when I flipped to mad.
Yeah. Like I didn't.
Because I was trying to, I was taking what you gave me because I think you're more knowledgeable about the situation than most people. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be rational here. I'm going to look at the situation and think to myself, okay, I'm going to assume the best out of Trev because that's the information I have and that's where it leads me to be. Last night, where
was it the interview that sent you over the edge?
I mean, I really I know it doesn't matter to you. I really didn't
it actually mattered because I felt like it was unnecessary.
No, not the interview. I'm talking about the tweet. I really didn't like the tweet.
Yeah, I didn't. So I probably had more problems with the interview.
I did have more problems with the interview, but I saw the tweet first.
Yeah.
And so
it set the stage.
Yeah, so it puts me in a weird place.
That's what you have to guard against.
Yeah.
Right. So when not everybody, but like when everybody was so mad at the Board of Regents, well, they didn't do this and they did do that. I'm like,
everybody.
I'm like, hey, slow down here for a second. Like a couple of things can be true at once. They could have had some boo-boos here in the past, but that don't necessarily fast forward to this situation because I do think this time cooler heads tried to prevail. They just didn't. down the stretch. So I didn't need my pound of flesh from the Board of Regents. Same as I'll tell you, just because the one aspect of what he did made you mad doesn't, like, I just think you'll be better off. And I mean, listen, you got to do you, right? I'm not, you're a grown man. But I just think you'll be better off being able to take in information if you can take the emotion out of it.
And I'll be able to do that.
Right? Because sometimes he's going to say something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who the source is. Like, it's either going to be something you agree with or something you don't. But don't let it be based on how you feel about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to give myself a few days to just kind of feel. And then a few days from now, I'll remove the emotion. I'll be fine. And just looking at it objectively.
I read stuff from people I don't like all the time. My sister got so mad at me one time. She laid into me, and she has very strong opinions.
Yeah.
She's at Bloomberg now. Like, she's good at what she does. Okay. Started way back at the Fremont Tribune. But anyway, there were two particular people on social media sometimes that I would reference. Two people she clearly does not like.
Okay.
And so she sent me, like, on our family group text, she was like, why such and such and such? I'm not going to give her voice flexion. Let's just say it like this. Why such and such and such and such? I can't believe you read such and such and such and such. And I would reply back. I'm like, I like to kind of know how people think. Like, there is some validity in terms of what he or she is saying right now. I happen to not like them, but I can learn something here because I think they're right.
That doesn't mean there's nothing of value.
And then she would just pick, like, she's totally disgusted. And I get her vantage point. I do. It's just not the way. I don't know, man. It's like, am I an unnecessary? I just heard this yesterday in my own household. Yeah. Am I an unnecessary glutton for punishment sometimes? Sure.
Okay.
And I said, I'm willing to entertain that. I am. Like, okay. I mean, there were several examples of people that either intentionally or unintentionally, or just issues in the past that I've just overlooked and moved on. Right. But I practiced that skill set from my dad. So it's all I know. Right. A guy that, nobody wanted him at first. He wasn't good enough in educate. Like, and he just kept keeping on. So I'm not saying I wouldn't recommend it, because sometimes it's not healthy. Right? Like, you have to cope with how you cope. But for me, it's totally a learned behavior. Like, I have to learn to catch a punt in front of 78,000 under duress. I had to learn to function when I wasn't the best. So, like, when I tell you something, it's like, you got to do with it what you will. But I'm just saying, like, if you'll process information better, right? You wouldn't have lost a $20 lunch bet last night. No, I'm dead serious. You wouldn't have lost a $20 lunch bet last night if you could have just stayed in the moment.
And I mean, I've told I've told you this before. I cannot watch Creighton basketball rationally.
And you're like, I'm so irrational. And I was like, okay, but just use it as a teachable moment. Like,
no, I'm still gonna do it, because, like,
I went to the menus right away. 60 seconds of you laying the wager down. I'm like, what could I eat for $20 for a $20 limit? I could go with the Meat Mountain sandwich. Maybe Gandolfo's. They got a double plate.
I do like Gandolfo's.
What was the other one that I threw?
Gyros.
Yep.
Yeah, like some gyro meat.
I got a favorite gyro spot.
Yeah.
I can get 4 sides of gyro meat for $3.70 a piece.
There you go.
I could eat it for 3 days. Get some, get some cheese on there and just eat a bowl of it. I'm like, I could do that too. It's gonna be one of those three, Robbie,
hey, listen,
just so you know.
I'm good with whatever.
But because you couldn't stay in the moment.
No, so it's because I was in the moment. That's the thing, is when as soon as the moment's over, I'm good.
No, you stay mad.
Not usually.
No, do I need to bring up Monday?
What happened on Monday?
Dude, you're a jerk.
About what? I don't even remember.
I thought, whoa.
Yeah. That's fair.
Can you hear Shane laughing?
No.
We were just in here getting mowed down for no particular reason.
It's been a long week, man. So I don't know how long it lasts. Always.
So Sunday, you may be able to read something because stuff is gonna kind of leak out, and you're gonna be like,
at some point, I'll be okay. And I'll tell you why I'm like this. It's because I'm just not going to pretend like I don't feel a certain way.
Oh, no, I understand.
And so
I got a glimpse into it yesterday when you were explaining wanting your feelings to be acknowledged when you feel them.
Yeah.
Like, don't not validate your feelings.
Yeah. Listen,
that gave me a good snapshot.
I'm going to validate my own feelings, right? Because I think that's important. I'm not going to talk myself out.
Yeah, you talk. Yeah, I can tell in your delivery.
I'm not going to talk myself out of how I feel. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to get into the reasons of why I feel that way. Like, I'm not just going to leave it at like, this is how I feel, so this is absolute truth. I want to get into the reasons why I feel that way. I want to get into the underlying issues of why I feel that way. And at that point is when I become way more rational, right? But in the moment, I'm going to feel how I feel for however long I feel it.
Yeah, and I have to have some built-in guardrails because I know that, like, I was gifted with I think it's a gift. Like, I can manipulate the situation.
Sure, yeah.
So, like, but
you have to be really careful about it.
Yeah, because
otherwise you're a bad person.
Yeah, I don't want to be ill. I don't want to be ill-willed about it, right? I've went through that stage. So when I hear and I know that there's a spot of vulnerability, like I'll go in and get it. Mm-hmm. But if I want to, I could be like, all right, I understand. And then that's when I can become a good listener and we can process. Mm-hmm. I say we because I would be talking to you, but whomever it is, which is typically why people like talking to me.
Yeah, because you can process things real time.
Yeah, but it like I said,
and I process things in my own time.
It can go south. Yesterday, I would say overwhelmingly, people were not like wanted me to feel different than I was feeling.
Which I don't like that either. You feel however you feel, right?
They're like,
just because I'm mad doesn't mean I want you to be mad. I want you to feel how you feel.
You know, like whether it's DMs or texts, like especially people close to like. Mm-hmm. I would say anger is the prevailing sentiment.
I would agree.
And it's from people that typically anger isn't their first response.
That's why I like to get into why you feel that anger, though. I said it yesterday. Anger is usually a secondary emotion. Most people, I think, in the situation that are angry feel betrayed, which is why when I see a tweet that says right move, I don't want to hear it.
But he's talking to – you're right. But so you did say something that was interesting that I didn't really think of. Send the text.
Yeah, just send a text. Why is that a tweet? That was my issue because, if he's,
I get it. I'm not mad at you.
If he's just talking to Dennis, that's a text message.
Yeah.
Right. What I got from that, and maybe I'm reading too much into the situation, is he was in real time trying to get the people of Nebraska not to be mad at him anymore, because I don't think he probably loves that.
That's not what it was.
What was it?
I think he was saying, "All right, step in the right direction."
Okay, I mean, that's fine.
I think that's what he was saying.
But at this point,
now we could. Who are we to really say whether he should have said it or not?
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's a him or Dennis thing. But I think he was acknowledging the situation.
We needed to do something.
What I took from that was, it felt like he was trying to rehab his image in real time, and that may or may not be true. It may not be true. That's fine.
Why did you pick that one over bring the bus?
Because I don't care about that. Like, he's doing
or Johnny Manziel
that part, because Johnny Manziel's part of his job now. I get that. I understand that Johnny Manziel is important to Texas A&M football. Okay. I get that. I don't have a problem with him now catering to his new job. He took the job. What, you think you think Trev is a Johnny Manziel guy? Come on. You know him, and you've seen a lot of Johnny Manziel. You think Trev's like, yeah, I'm riding with that dude.
Hey, nothing would please me more.
After Club Shay Shay, I love Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't think Trev's
I love's too strong of an emotion. I'm very stingy with that.
I don't think Trev is really a Johnny football guy. Right? He's doing his job now. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. Bussin' with the Boys is a huge podcast. It's good for his athletic department. I get that. I don't have a problem with that because he's doing his new job. Quit trying to do your old job by telling Nebraska right move.
I don't think what he said that.
But
you don't get a say anymore.
Isn't he in until Friday? So I mean,
I don't think they're going to let him back in the office, Shane.
That will be interesting. There's so many good people. Like,
you think they turn off his key card?
Stop it.
I would have. Try and get in the facility with a little card there.
There's so many people. There's a couple people there. I hope he doesn't take.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't take anybody. I hope everybody's like middle fingers. We're staying here.
Yeah, but they're gonna have a new boss. At least not right now, but
no, at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to decide if that's the boss you want to work for, and I get it. I've been there. We are going to get to the Sam McKewon interview at some point.
The guy that I always sit next to on the plane, it's somebody that I'm like, just stay.
Just don't take him.
Yeah,
we'll just see where it goes.
Are you starting your aggressive text campaign? Like, hey,
you know
around?
what?
Not yet.
I think about it and then I never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday I was like, because you never know if you're overstepping your bounds.
Can I just say,
I wanted to say, hey, blank.
Hope you stay around.
Hope you stay around. I love being with you.
Let me just say,
trips.
Even if that's not a place where you think like that's not overstepping your bounds, that's just telling somebody you like being with them.
It's kind of weird.
Send the weird text, man. It's good. How many weird texts have I sent to you that have allowed us to be in this position?
I sent one to Matty DeMarinis that took some.
Yeah.
I was scared to hit send.
Yeah. How many times have I sent one of those to you where it's like, I don't know if I should really send this, but I'm going to.
Yeah. And, a couple. Yeah.
And that allows for the relationship to grow.
Mm.
And if the person doesn't receive it well, it's like, well, there wasn't much there anyway then, huh?
Shot your shot.
Yeah. It's like, what are you going to do?
You mad though?
Like, I don't know a single person that like in a working environment was like, hey, I really like working with you. I hope you stay. Like, that's a great text to receive, even if you don't. Like, nobody's mad about that.
Ooh, a fun Friday.
There'll be more stuff with Trev coming up.
Festive Friday.
We haven't even got to the interview yet where I got real mad.
And hoops.
Oh, yeah, basketball. We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We're very popular on the digital platforms, DB. I don't know if you know that. But you can find us on any of those if you'd like to see our bright and shining faces on our.
Well, you can't see mine because I'm charging my.
If you'd like to see my bright and shining face while DB charges his computer.
If you'd like to see Ravi in another Mr. Rogers sweater, I kind of like the quarter zips.
I don't. You got a problem with the sweaters? I don't.
Won't you be my neighbor? No, I don't. I think you look sharp.
I think Mr. Rogers is a great role model.
So he aged well, right? We didn't turn out to.
No, he didn't cancel him. He didn't get canceled.
And he didn't
do anything weird.
Okay.
No, I think by all accounts he ended up being a good guy.
Okay.
The worst thing he did was he was a Vietnam sniper.
Wait, I thought that was fake.
I think he was in Vietnam. I don't know if he was a sniper, but I'm pretty sure he was in Vietnam.
Shane, did we confirm or deny? Was he military?
I think he was military.
I remember having that conversation, but I can't.
I know. That was so long ago.
Yeah.
I need a life.
Well, you've had many lives. Many lives, many masters.
I want to read a book. Listen, it's too early for the masters thing, okay?
It's gonna rain.
It's the reason I don't go on cruises.
I
was fooled once before.
Fool me once, shame on me.
No, I'm just playing.
I'm just serious. Sam. Whew.
I'm not sure if did that fall into there.
Oh shoot!
I didn't realize we were going to be talking about black people on boats today. All right.
What?
Sam McKewon had a little talk with one Trev Alberts.
Shane's over here mouthing to me, pirates in Somalia. No, Shane, it's not what he's talking about.
Somalia, like the wine guy?
Well, like Pirates of the Caribbean? What are we talking about
Dave Chappelle, Jesse.
I'm gonna start.
You asked me the same question last year.
Speaking of being petty, I'm gonna start calling him Trevor since he goes by.
Would
Trev.
you stop?
I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna go by his government name. Because since we're not friends anymore, not that we ever were.
Teddy Ruxpin.
One Trev Alberts.
Is it Teddy Ruxpin? Is he the one that wanted to be friends and do things forever?
I thought that was the bear that came to life.
That's Teddy Ruxpin.
I don't know, man.
It's where they got the movie Ted.
Right, that's all I'm aware of.
Way to think on your feet, numbnuts.
I'm sitting down. What do you want me to do?
Well, is that the one with the talking bear?
What? I don't know.
That's something I would say.
Hello, friend.
I feel like you'd say like Teddy Ruxpin, and you were actually thinking about like Rasputin or something, and I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Touche.
And you're like, no, the Russian wizard guy.
Touche.
And I'd be like, no, Teddy Ruxpin's the bear.
I do.
Yeah, it's like something that'll sound a little like something, and then you cross wires.
Yeah, sometimes I skip a few dots.
And I'm like, wait, how do we get to the Russian Revolution? How did that?
Wait, you're talking about North Carolina. Why in the world did you start up over in Phoenix? Well, you see,
Well, so Cam Johnson played for Phoenix, and I was thinking about that Carolina team, and then it made me think about this Carolina team, and then I was thinking about Caleb Love, who's now in Arizona. So I got back to Phoenix.
it's pretty good on the fly.
I know how an ADHD brain works. I know.
Jerk.
So one Trev Alberts.
It's not his name.
Does he have a full first name?
What's that?
Is it just Trev? Is
It's
that the
Trevor.
full first name?
It's Trevor.
Yeah, so his name is Trevor. I'm just going, since we're not on speaking
Full-fledged petty. We're going government names.
I mean, since we're not really on speaking terms anymore, that
still my guy.
that's fine. You can still call him Trev.
I can't stand you.
Yeah. That's why you love me. That's he had a conversation with Sam McKewon, which I just think was ill-advised. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that was a good.
Well,
move
you
for
think
him.
he needs parental does it need a parental discretion, Mike?
He can do whatever he wants. I just don't think it was smart.
Oh boy.
You don't think it was smart either. Don't act like I'm out of pocket here.
I wouldn't say out of pocket, but ill-advised. I think
He's better off not saying anything in that moment.
unless
He has actually something to say.
you were going to inform us. I don't think
He didn't tell us anything.
that was super. Yeah, I don't think that was super informative. Well, then put the disclaimer on it. Don't just make it seem like anything he said was ill-advised
No,
at this
I
point.
think
if he would have done it the way that you wanted to, you'd have been cool.
If he had done it in a way that gave us anything, then it would have been cool. Yes, I am here for transparency. I like that.
Ravi Lulla for transparency.
Yeah, like the old, the old slide you project on the transparencies. No,
Do they still use those where you would like
No.
roll the plastic
no.
and you'd write
No.
on it with the little wax?
I
black
think
thing?
they stopped.
Did
using,
they have those when you?
They
were in
had them
school?
when I was in school, but I think they stopped using them by the time, probably about when I graduated.
Okay.
So if you didn't see, Sam, I don't think sat down is the right term, but had a conversation with Trev, and these are some of the takeaways that I had from Trev, which there's not a lot because, as we said, he didn't say anything, and this is what made me mad because either he's not telling Sam the truth, which is fine, but then why have the interview?
No, I think he thinks Sam has a fairly. You have to be tricky, or you have to be tricky. You have to be careful when doing interviews, and the interviewee
Mhm.
may have some insight into the question they're asking you,
For sure.
and you still don't land the plane because it comes across as you two only talking to each other. But that's not Sam's goal. Sam's goal is to
Inform the public.
inform the public.
So this is why I think it was ill-advised, because if you're not going to say anything and you have an idea that Sam probably knows some things in the questions that he's asking, that they are informed questions, then unless you're going to tell the full truth and nothing but the truth, there is nothing to gain from having this conversation. Nothing at all.
Have you not read print for the
I have.
majority of your
Yes,
adult
I have.
life? Are those the rules that you think people play by?
No, I don't, but I think
That would be ideal, right?
I think also most people who talk
What
to
is
the
this, Hunger
press,
Games. It's
May-
a
maybe-
myopic.
may the odds be ever in your favor. You volunteer in as tribute. A lot of people were trying to volunteer for the interim AD job, and I was like, excuse me.
Dude, I can't even manage my own household.
I was like, excuse me. I understand that you think DB and I can only do a show together for a month based on previous experience. I would like to keep him around for longer this time.
And remember, I'm never mind.
So,
Gosh, I almost told on myself for no apparent reason to make a joke.
yeah, I mean, because jokes are funny.
Live radio is really tough.
Yeah, it gets a little
Is this
dicey.
thing on?
It's a little dicey sometimes, which is
T-Mac thinks we're crazy because this show is out of control and you haven't even got to basketball.
yeah.
Or
that's true.
Vrzal, which
I can't wait to talk to
well,
Verz today.
he may surprise you. You know, he's a crapshoot.
That's
it's
true.
like-
That's true.
He may say nothing.
He may. I I would bet against that today. I don't know. We'll see. So here are the quotes. This one from one Trev Alberts.
Oh, gosh.
These are hard jobs. No kidding. They're even harder now.
I don't think that was in
Oh,
print.
sorry. That was commentary. My bad. They're even harder now than they've ever been. And leadership is just really critical. That's a hot take. Sorry. Again, commentary.
Again, see, you're in your feels.
Maybe not to everyone, but it really is to me. So General Welsh sold me on a really compelling vision. It's compelling, and he's a compelling person. That was the reason. Everybody's looking for some crazy reason, but you don't have to run to do that. It's a unique opportunity at a great school with defined leadership. Then he goes on to say later, I'm not going to say anything bad about my alma mater. I love Nebraska, but I think it's fairly obvious that there are some challenges. I think the lay person can probably figure that out. I think some of the challenges are reflective of where we are as a society and as divisive things that are a part of our everyday culture. It is what it is. My initial thoughts there are, in what fantasy land is Texas better? If that's the reason, because I think he's talking about the political climate, right? In that last section, that's a fair takeaway.
Or maybe just leadership in general.
Okay, fair. I understand he really likes General Welsh. That's fine. He really liked Ted Carter too. People leave jobs. We know this. I don't think it's out of question or I don't think it's a bad idea to consider who your boss is going to be when you take a job. But I think
it's critical.
I do think it is dangerous, especially in a position like that, where to make a decision solely or even mostly because of that. It does matter 100%. But especially if you're not talking about,
maybe they're uniquely connected in his contract.
Maybe.
Right? Like Shohei Ohtani. If Friedman leaves, or
then he gets to go.
Then the Dodgers, yeah.
Sure. Maybe. That's possible.
So do you think that's one of the things he maybe learned?
To make sure he's connected to the guy he wants to stay with?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think he learned.
Would people do contracts like that? I guess it would be how bad they want you.
Depends on how bad they want you. I think it would also depend on, General Welsh a lot, how he felt about the situation.
Hey, if you go, I get to go.
Yeah, I would guess most people probably don't want to do that because that's a dangerous position to put yourself in as an institution. But it's probably not.
Well, we kind of made that mistake. We sold our soul a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Based on who we liked.
Yeah. Coming up next, we will wrap up hour number one. We'll dive a little bit more into those Sam McKewon comments with Trev here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. Wrapping up hour number one on what has been a very normal and not super weird first hour of the show here on a Friday. Very cool, normal stuff. Not talking about anything weird, not a pocket. It's all right. We are
certainly not a lot of feelings involved.
Listen, I am going to feel the way I feel until I don't anymore.
I'm waiting for you to stomp your fingers or stomp your foot and fold your arms.
Do the I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. We're going to do a network deal here.
I'm not. Yeah. What was that on?
Network, I think, is the name of the movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I actually haven't seen it, but there's been enough references to it in pop culture since then.
That is something.
Yeah, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Yeah, I think that's it. We will.
Yo, why is Shane walking around here?
I don't.
Come on, Shane. Why the fuck is Shane walking in there?
Shane is over here dressed like he's getting ready to go hunt polar bears. Do you have any idea what he's thinking over there?
So the DJ can't spin. I guess not.
It was a little chilly this morning as we came in here. I had to kick the heat on a little bit.
Oh,
it's March.
It's 63 degrees in here.
Not anymore.
It's
not
5
anymore.
degrees colder over here,
Dude,
which makes no sense. I get
whiny
it.
Voice is
I
classic.
get it. I get it. I'm in a little box over here, so maybe the heat doesn't come down here a little bit, but it doesn't need to be, like 58 over here.
That's not how heat works, man.
I think I should go back off camera.
No, I think you're fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we're live on. We're live on AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
pretty big digital numbers going on over there.
Yeah,
I think they may plummet once I'm on camera. I think I should go back. I don't want to make Sasha mad though.
No, I think it's a little different. We've got a very lively YouTube chat going on,
dude. It's out of control.
Yeah, we love our YouTube chat. They're the voice. TK says, "Voice of the people." That's me, TK.
Hey, he's a nut job, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I was DMing him back and forth yesterday.
This dude doesn't have a serious bone in his body.
Well, he's gonna be a lawyer, so he better find one.
Oh, what's it? What practice?
I don't know, but he's at KU Law, I think.
I know he's there.
I don't know what he's going into. He may not have decided yet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just all encompassing.
Well, some people don't decide early.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe.
Certainly doesn't strike me as the guy that would be a public defender.
God, no. I mean, like the people. Listen, ultimate respect for the people that do those jobs.
Yeah,
that job sucks. It does. Like it just does.
Yeah.
You don't get paid for crap, and it's a tough job. Like it's just a hard job. You're overworked for no money, or I mean, really, you don't make that good of money as a public defender. You're overworked. You're dealing with horrible issues constantly. Like it is one of the worst jobs.
It's like morning radio.
Totally. Yes. Totally.
Kind of some descriptions in there.
Totally thankless. No, I have the utmost respect for people that are public defenders. I met one like a year ago, and I was like, I'm not a good enough person to do what you do.
Shout out public defenders.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how we got on that this morning.
What do you think what do you think Trev's law degree was? What kind of law do you think he practiced?
I don't know. What's the most cutthroat kind? Mergers and acquisitions?
Boy, you were on a roll.
Yeah. What kind of the Sharks practice? I think
so.
M&A.
The only good thing so far that's come out of this is I do get to see the fact, contrary to popular belief, you do like Nebraska.
Yeah, people think because I like Creighton that I don't like Nebraska. That's not true.
Well, I think your love for Creighton supersedes just about everything else. I think that's what, at the end of the day, when you cut a guy open, what comes out, that's what he. I mean, it's you bleed blue.
I care about Nebraska football as much as I care about Creighton basketball.
Really?
Yes, I really do.
Wow, Monumental Friday.
I don't think like Nebraska football has shaped who I am as a person. Like that's a real thing.
Everybody's like, they made you a jerk.
It's when you go through trials and tribulations.
My man Toby said he was always my favorite.
Toby
Martinez. Oh my gosh,
Toby Martinez. I don't even know who that is.
Just not sure what we're even listening to this morning.
Well, it's a radio program called Hurrdat Sports Radio. You can listen on AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities.
Really informative when we want to be.
Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I think you're learning a lot because let's go back to the Sam and Trevin, Trevante.
My favorite Trevin is Lubin. Next.
I thought it was Trevor Lubin.
No,
Trevin? I think it's Trevor.
It is. You talking about Wahoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, it's Trevor.
It is.
Yeah.
I met his parents last year. That was nice. You want me to tell you a story off topic like I always do?
Why not? Yeah.
No, I'm not going to. Go ahead. Big Lubin fans.
No, yeah, there's good people.
No, yeah.
No, stop. That's the most Midwestern thing.
I hate when you placate me like that. I feel like I want to choke you.
That's the
I will need a public defender.
I know a guy. I met him last year. I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
It's made everybody upset.
What?
The last couple days.
The interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of with you until last night. Like I was reasonably measured. I really wasn't mad. I was disappointed. I don't know him, but I was like, man, I was, and honestly, the article last night and the tweets, really just the one tweet. I don't have a problem with the Johnny Manziel stuff. Like I said,
the fist pound.
Yeah, I don't care about that. That's fine. That's part of his job now. Okay, not a big deal. But
did you find any of those? Did you scroll back through? Was that for a second there? I'm not going to kid you. I thought somebody else was doing. I thought he got hacked.
Yeah, because that was kind of out of character for him. Most of his stuff is retweets.
Yeah.
Of Nebraska accounts.
That's the thing.
So he's not. So I think that's part of what bothered me about the about kind of the Twitter interactions is this seemed really out of character, felt a little like he was trying too hard, whatever. Some of them were directly related to the new job. That's fine. But yesterday, really the article and kind of the Twitter, just the whole internet with Trev last night turned me from being kind of on his side into like something must have happened that drove him out the door to, oh, he just gave up on us. That's where I landed.
Okay, so but remember yesterday,
and that's why I'm mad. It's he gave up on us. That's why I'm mad.
Okay, so
you said this yesterday.
I did.
You asked him to fight, and he didn't.
Yep. I said the friend in me was like, okay,
I get it.
I get it.
Bad work environment.
There are some things that you feel like you can't control or get over. It seems kind of doom and gloom. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm always going to have X, Y. Wait, what comes before X? 4
W?
letters. Yeah. I'm always going to have W, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, that's right. I think
the 4 things, right?
Yeah.
Kind of that we were alluding to. But the peer or the coworker or the student athletes or me, if I didn't know him with my personality, I would say fight
through it.
Fight.
You're never going to have a perfect situation.
You love you love
the university.
You like all that you've told these guys you want to be and you stand for. And look what you've already been through.
Yeah. And look what you've already accomplished.
So it's like
obviously the leadership wasn't that much of a hindrance because of everything he's actually been able to get done.
Yeah, so I felt like maybe he just got tired. And then that's when I was like, man, fight.
Yeah.
Push through.
Like if that's the reason, and it seems like it is, that's what he's telling us the reason is, then I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad that he gave up.
He's giving you a glimpse, isn't he?
Because that's the thing that if you look at a Trev, you look at a Matt.
And he almost always takes the high road, so yesterday was a little surprising, especially so fresh.
Yeah. I thought we might get this a month from now, a conversation about what happened.
Because they're not doing. When's A&M doing their press? It's not till next.
Not until next week. I'm surprised he talked to anybody in the Nebraska media before the press conference.
Right?
Yeah, like that's weird.
Doesn't typically, or who was they do the exit interviews with not too long ago, publicly in the media before?
And
it's like, wow, you don't. Was it the OC? Was it an OC?
I don't remember.
Was it Lubick? It was. I'm like, man, there's no way he's packed. Although he kind of lived out of bags anyway.
I was going to say.
I think it was it Lubick? Anyway, I don't want to.
I don't know. Those credit unions have really nice relocation packages. So, no, is that they do, man. Banks have a lot of money. No, that's where I got mad.
And the Rockets, regular.
That's where I got mad. It wasn't the pettiness. It's part of the pettiness, but it was the fact that he basically just came up and said, like, I throw my hands up, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, come on, man. Because I thought he was better than that. And maybe that's not fair. Because in the same situation, now if I was at Creighton or Nebraska, it probably would be different. But in corporate world, if I'm in the same situation, I'm gonna get out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But corporate world, I'll be honest, I wasn't like super invested in. That was a means to an end. I have to imagine Trev doesn't feel that way about Nebraska. And so that's where it becomes disappointing. If you care about a place, I want you to fight through. Now, I'm the exact same person that will tell you in your family, if you've got toxic relationships, put up boundaries and don't let them bring you down. So I understand it. I do. But I'm still disappointed. Is that fair?
Yeah. I'm vibing, but you're talking to somebody that kind of struggles with setting boundaries.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's pretty myopic. Like it's best case scenario.
For sure. No, it is. And I'm acknowledging I was expecting more out of Trev than I probably would have myself, but it's what I hoped for out of him.
Here's the beauty.
Based on the things we heard from him.
Here's the beauty of it though. Mm-hmm. You got a call to action yesterday from the governor,
which we will talk about.
So at least it has their attention, and you got a chance to get a pretty good person in that chair as well.
Dennis LeBlanc.
Well, for right now, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will continue touching on this, but we've got Taylor Stormberg for Creighton coming up next. Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well, and we're brought to you by the Omaha Supernovas. Make sure you go to supernovas.com to get tickets for their match on Saturday. Also, we will be giving tickets away later in the show, so keep your ears out in the 9 o'clock hour. We will give tickets away for Saturday's match against the Orlando Valkyries. Unfortunately, Omaha fell in 4 sets last night to the Atlanta Vibe, but you got to get out there as Omaha tries to get back on the winning track on Saturday against Orlando. That's supernovas.com for schedule information, tickets. You can shop as well, supernovas.com. We are efforting Taylor Stormberg. I don't think he anticipated Creighton was going to lose last night when he agreed to do the interview. And so I think he was assuming he'd still be in New York. They may be on a plane right now. I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see if we can get a hold of him. I do want to get into college hoops a little bit. I'm sure we will return to the Trev Alberts saga at some point here. Jim Pillen, the governor, had some comments that I want to get to as well. But let's start with basketball. There is a lot going on. Nebraska plays tonight. We will talk about that with Mike Sautter at 9. But let's go with Creighton. You mentioned kind of this bet we made during the game. So there was a point where they were down
13.
12, 13. I don't remember when I sent the exact text, but it was when Providence was going pretty good. And I sent a text. I go, I think this thing might get away from them.
Uh-huh.
And you go, nah, they'll be fine. They'll be back. And I go, hey, let's put lunch on it. And that's the quickest reply I've ever gotten from you. Which you're famously like not a great texter, which is fine. But
ooh, Ravi here for pot shots this morning.
I mean, you stop me when I'm wrong. That's the fastest response I've ever gotten. I barely hit send, and you go, you're on. And then you immediately started looking up menu items and sending them to me.
Yep.
I was like, am I supposed to like Grubhub you? I don't know what's happening here. But you were obviously right. I'm a little mad because I was like, okay, if I'm going to lose the bet, they could at least win the game for me, because I was sort of emotionally hedging a little bit.
You go, yeah, they've missed way too many good looks. This game is going to get away from them. I said it won't. Just watch. You go, I'll bet lunch they lose by double digits.
Yeah, I thought they were going to lose by at least 10. And I was going to give you 15, which I told you later.
And I told you I'd have taken 6.
Yeah, which that had gotten close. You still would have won, but we were getting close there on the 6. And so obviously I get emotional during Creighton games.
I'm like,
I'll be totally honest.
Jim and Jenny's or Greek Islands?
Oh, I like Greek Islands.
They're both fire.
I'll let you go over the $20 limit if you want to go to Greek Islands. I like Greek Islands.
Well, I'm going to enjoy my meal in peace, in solitude, okay?
Oh,
I don't know if that's what I go with.
you don't want to eat with me? That's I see how it is. Well, you think you spend enough time with me every day?
You haven't seen my prison stance when I'm eating, right? With my elbows over the table.
Box it out.
And I envision my mom saying, get your elbows off the table, Damon. Damon, get your elbows. And my dad just looking at me. And I'm like, I said, how am I supposed to eat with my shoulders pinned against my chair? Stop slunching over your food. What does slunch mean?
It's like slouch and hunch. So if you're like, a slouch.
I'm not traumatized by that experience at my household.
Yeah, that's what is that from, like 30 years ago?
What do I say to the kid? Hey, man, sit in your chair right.
Hey, quit slunching at the table.
Hey, get your knee out of your chair. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my, what's happening?
You're like those Progressive commercials where it's like, when you buy a house, you become your parents.
Funny man.
No, I mean, so I'm watching.
They had hit so many tough shots.
Providence hit a ton of tough shots. And here's the thing with Creighton is, and I can remove myself from the emotion after the fact. But
No, you cannot.
After the fact, I can. In game, I'm not going to. I'm not even going to try because I don't want to. And beforehand, I don't see them really well in terms of making predictions. Afterwards, I can kind of do a post-mortem and figure out what happened there. But sorry, that's what we call it in the risk industry. We call them post-mortems. I don't know if that's a thing anywhere else, except for in like death. But anyway, so that's how, like, if you're going to beat Creighton, it's going to be in a couple areas, right? If you're going to be able to make the shots they want you to take, you'll beat them because they probably aren't willing to scrap their entire defensive system. Now they've tried different things later in the season, which I'll give them credit for. They've switched some. They've switched just everybody at some points. They've changed what Kalkbrenner does on ball coverage sometimes as well. So, but there's things that they're always willing to give up. And that's, man, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine that's a college coach on Tuesday, I think. And he's kind of trying to refine his defensive system as they get into the offseason or whatever. And one of his assistants kind of gave him a pitch about what he wanted to do. And I was like, all of those things are fine individually. You don't get to do them all together, right? So this guy was like, I want to have like really good help defense, almost a pack line, but I also want to put pressure on the ball. And I was like, that doesn't work. Because the idea of a pack line is that you can't compromise the center of the defense.
Yeah, you neutralize probably playing the Kalkbrenner strengths.
Yeah, it's like, so you can't have all the things, right? You can't have great help side defense and not give up layups and be super aggressive and try and cause turnovers. Like, you don't get to do all the things.
Yeah.
You have to decide.
And they don't turn you over anyway.
Right, yeah. So you have to, and that's a thing that obviously Mac has decided, hey, not worth it for us. Okay? So you have to decide what you want to give up. And there are certain teams. We saw it with Butler in Omaha. We saw it with Villanova a couple times this year. Although Creighton was able to hold on to that second one. We saw it with Providence. If you're able to be efficient enough in the areas that Creighton's going to allow you to get shots in, you're probably going to win that game. And that's sort of what happened with Providence. They didn't shoot the ball. Providence didn't shoot the ball from three very well. Neither did Creighton. Creighton didn't shoot the ball that well in general, but Creighton was there on the rebounds. You're talking about a 1 differential on rebounds. Turnovers weren't crazy on either side. It just really came down to Creighton's guy. I mean, like Shireman went 2 for 10 from 3. Ashworth went 1 for 8. I texted you about Ashworth early. I was like, I'm going to need this guy to make an open shot again at some point.
Yeah, I thought finally he looked a little tired.
Yeah.
You know,
his face looked tired. They showed a close-up. I was like, he looks tired.
But some of that is because he gets hit in the face a lot. So some of that is his battle wounds.
Yeah,
right?
part of it's
the
probably
bad eye, and it looks like he has bags.
Yeah, it did.
But it's discolored because
he's getting beat up.
Yeah, and he did a lot of the beating last night. That game was allowed to be awful touchy, right? A lot of loose jerseys being grabbed.
I mean, you could
a couple
see
guys
it.
getting tripped.
Yeah.
You know, he was trailing screeners last night. He was actually like
holding on to him,
pulling.
Yeah.
And I was like, nobody's going to see that. But then I figured, all right, that's the only Creighton's going to have to be allowed to play like that because that's the only way I felt like they were going to be able to get stops because Providence was getting tough shots. Because I felt like Creighton was in their scout, right? Like,
yeah, I thought Creighton defended pretty well.
You know, when you like see teams run action, and Creighton wouldn't even go for like the little pin down action, right? And I thought,
they were skipping steps.
They were,
yeah, they were skipping steps.
They were totally. I'm like, golly, man, they're locked.
That's when you have somebody scouted like down is when you beat them to their spot.
Yeah. Like I was watching Ashworth off a ball screen. He was going out to the 3-point line with his hand out. There wasn't even an offensive player there yet.
But he knew they were coming.
He knew that action was coming.
He knew they were coming.
So, but they hit I mean, Carter
hit a ton of tough shots. He also missed a ton of tough shots. I mean, he was 6 for 16.
He almost shot them out of the game.
At a certain point, yeah, because he started pretty well, and then he had like a 7 or 8 field goal stretch where he missed,
and then
he closed well.
Providence started to hit some of those pull-ups, and I was like, ooh.
Only a couple, but they were critical in a stretch. It was in the same stretch.
It quelled the run a little bit.
It did, and it was in the same stretch where Creighton missed those free throws.
Yep. And I jinxed the whole thing. All I said was FT little s.
Yep.
And then I waited for a second, and I go, and an open layup.
Yep. That was the Shireman missed layup that he gagged.
Who
didn't play well.
The shot selection. And I guess it's hard to be critical, and I get it. I hear this from some Blue Jay fans. Like they love his brilliance, but it's almost like in spite of the way that it looks. But when he gets like Hidi Amin on you, like you just got to let him cook.
That's the thing. It's sort of the same deal, I think, at a higher level, but it's the same thing you're dealing with Casey at Nebraska, right? Like you have to take the good with the bad. You don't get the good. It's like you say it all the time. You don't get this life without me in it.
Yeah.
Right. You don't get the Baylor Shire experience without the Baylor Shireman, right?
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be some stuff you don't love, but the juice is worth the squeeze, right? I'm just gonna steal all your lines today.
That's okay.
Um,
I just got the bingo card Idi Amin reference. I said heaty when he gets
on a heater.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I knew what you meant.
I am not promoting.
It took me a minute, but I was like, no, he meant heater. There we go. That's fine.
Not promoting genocide at all.
We are anti-genocide on Hurrdat Sports Radio. That's a stance we are willing to take.
Anyway, back to Idi Amin.
Back to Baylor Shire. Yeah, so you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned kind of the way the game was allowed to play out in terms of physicality, right? Because if that's again, I know that Creighton did better with it than they have, especially Ashworth was kind of like, hey, if you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, which I was actually happy with because Creighton has to realize that if games are going to be called that way, then they need to match that level of, I call it cheating, but other people call it physicality. Like if you're going to be allowed to foul constantly, then Creighton needs to raise their level of doing that as well, right? It is one of the reasons they used to always get beat in games like this, and I get that they lost. One of the reasons they used to always get beat in games like this is because they would still play their game, while the other team was playing Legion of Boom defense on them. Like that's basically what was happening before. And yesterday, for one of the first times, I thought, oh, they're doing it back now, which I think is a critical adjustment for them moving into the NCAA tournament.
So obviously, you run into a team in Providence that played pretty desperate. So outside of I get it, the whole make or miss league. Do you remember any real? I remember the 50-50 ball along the baseline, where it would be a tough inbounds, where they got the jump ball, the possession arrow. But that's the only. I think Kalk was the first one to get to the ground for the tie-up. But I don't remember them getting any of the loose balls either.
There was another one that wasn't a tie-up that they got to and kicked it to a guy that was standing up already. I want to say that was in the first half.
For on a potential defensive rebound, right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that little scramble.
And they got to the ground pretty quick there. But yeah, there is, the desperation.
If it's going to be a mucky game,
you have to do
those are the things that you've got to be able to do. And this time, how many turnovers do you think Providence had? And I get it. I know you don't turn.
I
know you don't turn teams over anyway.
I already saw, so I'm not gonna I already know the number.
It's 5, right?
Yeah, that's not enough.
Well, that's hard to overcome when you're not shooting well because you're not getting any extra possessions.
Yeah, if you're not turning them over, you need to offensive rebound well. If you're not offensive rebound,
they only had 7.
Yeah, which they were only -2 in that category, but still, you have to make it up somewhere.
Yeah.
Like if you're not shooting,
can't cut it. Yeah, exactly.
If you're not
the
shooting,
math doesn't work.
If you're not shooting the ball well, you can't be in a deficit on offensive rebounds.
You have to
and
find
a deficit in turnovers. Now, the only thing they had an advantage on, which does matter, was free throws. Right? They made 9 more than Providence.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, 20. Because they were 23 or 26.
Yeah, so they got to the line a lot. So that's one place they made it up. But
except when it counted.
Well, I'm looking. I get that those were critical.
Shot is average though.
Right. That's the point.
Okay.
If you give me 23 for 26 every game, I'll take it. No questions asked. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at some point, I don't expect them to go 26 for 26. That's not reasonable. If they go 20,
but do you expect Trey to be better than 3 of 5?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I expect Trey to be better than 3 of 5. But if you give me 23 for 26 as a team, I'm not going to ask when the misses came. I'm not going to ask for anything else. I will take that face value.
Do you remember his 2 threes?
I remember one of them.
Because I don't.
One of them was early.
And I was surprised he only took 3.
Yeah. I was reasonably pleased that he only took 3 because he hasn't shot it super well this year, although it's been better in conference play and as of late. But he was pretty aggressive getting in the mid-range. And
some of them expect him to be a little bit better than 5 of 12 then inside the arc?
5 of 11.
Because that's
for the shots that he takes, that's about right.
Yeah.
5 of 11 for contested difficult mid-rangers is pretty good, actually. Because that puts you at, 45%? That's about what most of those aren't layups,
Yeah, it's just tough because I think sometimes his degree of difficulty is high.
and doesn't always have to be.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes
that's the thing, right?
Yes.
Like sometimes you could just shoot an on balance pull up.
Yeah.
But he's so used to creating space with either leaning
Yeah.
back or the wrong foot.
or kind of doing a step through if he's
Yeah.
trying to get further to the rim. He kind of reminds me of, and I'm sure you've met people like this, that like only function well in chaos. And so when there's not chaos in their life, they create chaos so they feel comfortable.
Oh, come on, man. That is a very distinct personality.
Yeah, and I really don't like that.
Some people can't function without
drama.
thinking the other shoe is going to drop.
Yes,
Oh,
without feeling like the
this
sky is falling, right?
This is going too well.
But
this is going too well.
I almost feel that way when Trey is more open than he thinks when he drives. I think he then like pivots into coverage and then does his shot because that's where he's comfortable.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get. He's like the guy that can only operate in chaos, which again, for what it is, pretty efficient at that in and of itself. But there's some times where I don't think he does himself favors when he could have had an easier look. Overall, like do you have any lasting concerns about Creighton from this one?
I just hope and it's late in the season and it hasn't been, but I do worry a little about fatigue.
Is that the silver lining of losing early?
Yeah.
Get a week off.
That's what I was going to say.
Get a week off. Yeah.
And I think their strength and conditioning and their fitness program is locked in.
Yeah. Is it Ben and Jeremy?
So you always want to say ice cream, don't you?
Yeah.
I just say ice cream if you forget. It's close to Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, they're incredible.
So it's like
they're so good.
I know. I'm glad Max stopped making those little low key jokes though, because remember after that became a I was like, I think he's trolling us.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Club Shay. Man, my partner Two Shanes.
He touched it.
No, I didn't. What is it?
Never, ever, 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 ever.
At least he gets a little rest.
Yeah, his voice probably needs it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you're not going to win the whole thing, I'd rather lose yesterday.
How about
because they don't need it.
How about Connecticut just hit the X button?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know what speed burst is anymore. Sorry, young people.
I don't know. They hit the sprint button. Yeah, they just hit the turbo. Their ability to like take off on people
seriously,
is scary.
Like they can just light switch you and cut the whole thing out.
Yeah.
It goes dark in a hurry.
Yeah.
With UConn.
Yeah, it's like Prime Tyson lights going out.
I'm like,
yeah.
What happened?
They just remembered they were UConn, I think. I don't know.
Getting stops and scoring at will.
Yeah.
I was like, that's an impressive 5-6 minute stretch.
By the way, we'll have our guy at 8:30. He's in a call right now. So
Taylor, okay.
Yep.
Well, he's so important. Well, what if I don't want to? What if I'm all Creightoned out at 8:30? Shane.
Well, let's pivot to Nebraska then.
How come
or we could talk.
Am I just not a guy that he wants to check in with, or
no, he doesn't.
I care about you. Here's some pine cones on a stick.
Here's some pine cones on a stick. Let's go outside the Big East here as we're going to return with Taylor Stormberg here in a little bit. So you got Iowa.
I'm sick of both of you two.
What'd I do?
I'm out.
Thought we were having a good time.
No, you hear me? I'm quaky. I'm tired. I worked hard at school.
So you had a good day in the ACC yesterday.
It's fantastic. I'm being very quiet about Carolina, but I said this a long time ago. It's a national championship caliber team.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about somebody that turned on the light switch?
They're so capable.
Because they were kind of in a fight with Florida State. Then all of a sudden it was like, see ya, we're done here.
The old school.
And Florida State's not terrible. I mean, they're okay.
And that's the school that
has given North Carolina trouble in the past.
No, Carolina is the school where we would say the vintage Carolina run.
Yeah.
Remember it's the patented Carolina run. Like that's a school that was known for years.
Anytime
for their ability to spurt you.
Anytime I think of that, I think of Ty Lawson and Wayne Ellington.
Oh yeah.
Like those are the guys where my mind goes.
I remember Joe Forte.
Oh, I loved Joe Forte.
Listen, Joe Forte would go on individual 12-0 runs.
Yeah, Joe Forte, Celtics great.
Rashad McCants would do it.
I liked the Ray Felton, Rashad McCants teams a lot.
Jeff McKinnis's team.
Was that 90s, early 90s?
Would just
is that the 93 team?
Yeah, it would just sprint out on you, and it's like
They had a pretty similar identity for a lot of their run from kind of that whole Dean Smith tree. He goes from Smith to Guthridge to, we'll forget about Doherty, and then Roy Williams. Like the identity was.
At least Doherty recruited.
Yeah, he did. He got guys. He just couldn't coach.
Did you get my Clemson joke?
Which one?
Where I was like Clemson because.
Oh yeah,
because just earlier in the morning I go.
We're talking about how they're a 5
I'm
seed.
like, how is Clemson a 5 seed? They're not that good.
And then they showed that they maybe aren't that good.
You know what I'm like? Again, I'm an ACC. Apparently, I'm a
ACC honk.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But I like them. There's a couple of conferences I feel really, really, really good about. Like the Mountain West, I feel like
you're big.
I have a good
big Mountain West guy,
and I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the Big Ten.
Okay.
And your team. They can be our team, but they're more your
team.
I can peg Creighton pretty good.
You have a, and I told you this. You have a much better feel on Creighton than I do because I get too emotional about them. Mm-hmm. And I think honestly, I think it's the same thing with Nebraska football. You have a much better feel on Nebraska football than I do because you're able to compartmentalize your emotions about it. And I go until after it happens.
Well, do that again today so I can eat a couple of times for free. Like pick a random team.
I'll do better if it's not Creighton.
Get the juices flowing.
I'll do better
and say something just ridiculous so I can get
I'm going to watch Carolina, see if I can make a prediction there, see if I can play on your insecurities a little bit.
And my favorite team, Duke, lost yesterday. So it was because I knew Duke and Carolina could potentially go neck and neck for the higher seed. Because I don't know if they'll both be on the same seed line.
Probably.
I thought Duke had their chance to play their way into the 2 line.
Yeah, and so did Creighton, and now they're not going to. Creighton's going to be a 3 at best. I don't think they'll fall to a 4 unless something weird happens.
And I don't think Carolina can get the 4th one because.
No, I mean, I think people are set on Tennessee there.
But they can be the
top 2.
The top 2.
And I think they will be. Because here are the 2s right now: North Carolina, Arizona, Marquette, Iowa State. North Carolina is clearly the best of that group.
I don't know. Arizona woke up yesterday because was it AC? I told one of my guys, I was like, I think it was Adam. I said, I could see taking a flyer on SC in the Pac-12, right? Because I think they were like plus 900.
You big brawny guy?
I'm just kidding. And it doesn't have anything to do with his dad. He's
just not as good as the amount of attention.
Again,
kind of like Bo Jackson.
Isn't it a little early for that?
What happened?
Isn't that more like a 9:45 segment?
What happened? No, that's Verse. Coming up next, we will have Taylor Stormberg, Creighton basketball analyst here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. We're live on AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. The YouTube comments popping as always. We love you guys. Also, our guy TK, he's going to be a criminal prosecutor.
Yeah, he's going to put away the bad guys.
Good luck, buddy. We hope you do well. We've got more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next. We're halfway through the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. You could say we're 3 times as good as anything else you could be listening to this morning. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, and we are brought to you by our friends at Team Jack Foundation. TeamJackFoundation.org is where you can get involved with Team Jack. They've got a place where you can just donate directly on the website there, or you can get all the information you need on upcoming events or the projects that they're involved with, such as with the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Memorial Sloan Kettering, or Columbia University. Of course, they're working with the Nebraska Medical Center right here at home as well, and they've raised over $12 million to date. The treatments for childhood brain cancer are super out of date, 45 plus years old, and they're highly toxic. Team Jack's trying to find a better way and eventually trying to find a cure. Get involved with teamjackfoundation.org. That is one of our favorites. Do we have Taylor now?
Yep, we've got our guy.
All right. Joining us now on the hotline is Taylor Stormberg. He is a former Creighton Blue Jay and a Creighton color analyst. Taylor, how are you this morning, bud? Taylor, we there? Now we good, Shane? Taylor, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing good. So
Taylor, first time, long time. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to you too.
How are things, man? I always like hearing your voice because we kind of are cut from the same cloth. I always like your angles because you're typically positive by nature. So it's like, what better person to get on this morning than somebody that has a tremendous glass half full perspective?
Well, that's awfully kind of you to say. I don't know if I feel that way this morning, but
I know, right?
I'll try to bring that perspective to last night's game. But I mean, obviously disappointing with what happened, as you guys know. But I mean, hey, you'd rather here comes some positivity. You'd rather lose this game than lose the first round of the NCAA tournament.
And I said, Robbie, like, you'll get some rest. I think much needed rest too. The bench got even shorter in a hurry, and it may not be all bad, but we just kind of getting inside the numbers, a couple of statistical nerds. And typically we don't like the way those games are going to be officiated if it gets bogged down. But Creighton did get 26 free throw attempts, which was 9 more than Providence. Is there any takeaways from there? They didn't have a great advantage with offensive rebounds and second chance points, but if you're not going to shoot it well, is getting to the foul line an option? And can they function in games that gets a little mucky if they are getting to the foul line?
Well, I think they've shown that they can find different ways to win, and last night was an example of that, where they just didn't have their best stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so what they had to do, Providence did a great job extending out. They did an awesome job backside help, but then also just getting to shooters, and they also just didn't allow Creighton to have any simple ball reversals. And so what you saw was a lot of high dribble handoff ball screens, and then kind of that knifing, weaving, off of the ball screen. And Kalkbrenner did a great job stealing in the post, and so you saw guys like Baylor, you saw guys like even Stephen Ashworth at times trying to just get to the rim, because they did such a good job at kind of stunting and getting back out to 3-point shooters. And when you go 6 of 26 from beyond the arc, it's certainly not helpful. So
what do you think, Taylor, is the difference? Because the easy answer would be like, because it's best basketball in general. The further out you can get an offense pushed away from the hoop to initiate their offense, the better off you're going to be. But Creighton has done some masterful jobs at times just whipping pressure. What made last night different, where they had to initiate their offense so often 40 feet from the hoop?
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys like Jaden Pierre, guys like Devin Carter, even Ticket Gaines. He was in foul trouble, but they're just the athleticism and the physicality that those guys brought, and not only starting the offense at virtually half court, but just the simple left to right change of the floor. I thought Creighton did a good job getting the ball off of the glass and pushing in transition. And at Providence, to their credit, awesome job getting back and defending that initial series. But after that, it was impossible just to get, again, simple DHOs where, Kalkbrenner's at the top of the key and you got one guy coming off. I mean, how often have we seen him at the top of the key, Baylor Shireman coming left to right, he grabs it with his left hand and he gets downhill and scores? That didn't happen one time last night.
We're talking with Taylor Stormberg, former Blue Jay and Creighton color analyst. Taylor, is the difference between when we've seen Creighton being able to beat the pressure and last night just the amount that and not just Providence, but the game and the players were allowed to grab and clutch and check? Like, that makes it that much harder, because then you can't really take advantage of their over aggressiveness because they just grab you, right? Did you see that as kind of maybe the biggest difference?
I saw that certainly in the second half. I thought, first half, Creighton got Providence into early foul trouble.
Yeah.
But in second half, they got very physical, and especially just trying to get straight line drives. It just didn't exist. And you look at the score, right? Creighton puts up 30 in the first half and 43 in the second. The physicality, I thought, in the second half was really the difference maker. I mean, you look at the first 5 minutes out of the locker room, and score 17-6 in favor of Providence, and a lot of that was just the energy and tension, like what Providence was bringing to the floor.
Taylor, I thought that Creighton had trouble getting good looks at times, but when they did get good looks, I still didn't think they hit very many of them. I mean, you look at Ashworth and Sharman going 3 of 18 combined from 3-point range. How much of a factor is it when you are playing a super physical game like this, of even when you do get open, you don't feel that open?
No, it's a great point, and
it's a real thing too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's Devin Carter, right? I mean, that's what he does. I mean, you put him on a guy like Trey, a guy like Baylor, and he's just hounding you for 40 straight minutes. And even when you are wide open, you feel kind of that hesitation, or you're looking in your peripheral vision of like, where is he? Like, and so that definitely goes to part of the struggle. I would say that. Then, I mean, you got to look at 2 weeks ago when Creighton was in Madison Square Garden playing against St. John. What happened, right? They had a terrible shooting day, and ultimately got beat by double digits because just can't make shots. And that's what this team is centered around. They have to be able to put the ball in the basket.
I think minimum probably 6 teams. For you've seen this league up and down. It's a lot of quality coaching. It's a difficult league. We know that. For you, in a 68 team field, who's the toughest to guard or the toughest matchup if you're not familiar with their scout, right? Because a lot of times we see in these tournaments, it's the ability to turn around a game plan, right? It's like who can get their scout executed the quickest and turn around, which is sometimes why coaching matters. Who's the most difficult scout in your opinion if you're not used to their action?
That's a great question. This might sound like it would be a strange answer. It's probably Houston, to be honest with you. And it's not, and it wouldn't be for offense, right? I mean, that to me, like, you cannot prepare enough for a team like a Houston or an Iowa State even that plays the physical way that they play defensively. You can't tell me you're going to turn around in less than 48 hours and understand just how different the game is going to look and feel. And I think you see that sometimes with UConn as well. And just their ability to guard, offensively, I personally, I love watching Arizona play.
They scare me because their upside is pretty. It's pretty high.
It is. It really is. And they've lost a few games this year, but they're incredible to watch offensively.
That's Taylor Stormberg, former Creighton Blue Jay, Creighton color analyst. Taylor, we appreciate you joining us this morning, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Thanks, Taylor. That's
Taylor Stormberg, former Creighton Blue Jay. He is often on the Creighton radio call as well. Coming up next, we will wrap up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. Wrapping up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We are also live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Time flies when you're being petty here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla.
Oh, hi.
Hey, how are you?
How are things?
Do we want to talk about the governor?
Well, I think it's important.
I do too. I wasn't being facetious there. So Jim Pillen, governor of Nebraska, if you're not aware, came out with a pretty strongly worded statement yesterday about in direct relation to Trev Alberts leaving Nebraska for Texas A&M. He put direct blame on this on the University of Nebraska Board of Regents for their unacceptable timeline or delay in finding a replacement for Ted Carter. And go ahead.
Like that part I didn't love because I don't think the timing is not out of pocket, but I do like the call to action
Yes.
for
like, hey, let's go.
Let's figure this out.
Yeah, let's
right.
Let's
like that part. I really like, but I don't know about the timeline thing.
Yeah, I don't. As we said yesterday, and I think at least yesterday, that
I'm just glad we got a very public at the top.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement.
And that would go into one of the possibilities that I gave yesterday, that perhaps Trev was.
No, you're gonna have to not be petty here.
Yeah, that's I'll come back.
Are you
to
sure?
I'll come back to it later. Perhaps Trev was acting
falling
as
on the sword,
sort of a martyr here, and I know people a lot of times use that word in a negative connotation. I'm using it in its original context of basically sacrificing himself for the cause that he believes in the most. If that in fact is the University of Nebraska, and I don't know if it is or not, I don't, then maybe he thought the only way he could help Nebraska moving forward was to shine light on a dysfunctional power structure.
Shine your light, we're better together.
Like Abide or Better Together? No.
Oh, higher.
I don't know what's happening. Ohio?
No, it was a commercial.
I don't know what's happening there. I don't even recognize what we're doing.
So
because I thought that was a possibility in the moment.
Yeah.
And something like this would seem, even if that wasn't his intended case, that it had that intended or unintended consequence, that it got people's antennas up a little bit.
So like he just pushed away from the desk after the meetings on what would that have been, Wednesday, and said, you know what, I'm done. You guys got to get your act together. You can do this without me.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that, and again, given his statements,
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't either. But given his statements to Sam McKewon, I think it's less likely than I did yesterday. But I think it's possible, and I think both things could be true at once. I think he could have given up the fight, and he still wanted to call attention to a dysfunctional power structure.
Yeah,
both of those things could be true, right?
Yep.
Now, I wouldn't use the term martyr in that case. I would say he gave up the fight, which is what it is, right? He doesn't necessarily owe me to continue fighting. He doesn't owe that to me or really to anyone else. Now, we might feel like he owes it to us, and that's why we feel betrayed. And I get that, because I do a little bit feel betrayed. Don't give up on us, Trev. Like that's the root of my anger. Because
does any of you at all, any part of you at all, wonder how bad could it have been for him to burn the whole thing down? That was my whole thing Tuesday morning.
No, I do wonder that.
Like,
I do.
Because you went from folklorish legend.
Almost, I mean, obviously not unconditional, but pretty close to unconditional love and acceptance.
To you put yourself in some similar categories.
Burning it to the ground.
Of some other athletic directors. Now, there'll be one guy, and he's going to stand alone.
Steve Peterson, always.
Then there's going to be the next guy right under
Horst.
that. But you hope you're rolling the dice. This is how you know he's either irrationally confident or ultra secure, or maybe both.
Mm-hmm.
You pull a move like this, you have to tell yourself, you know what? Just take a look at what I've done. Take a look at what I inherited.
Mm-hmm.
I had to inherit a project I didn't even want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I asked for some help. I said, hey, I'll do this and I'll be the face of this thing, but we have something else going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm a visionary. This is what we're going to need to have happen at Memorial Stadium for this to be viable
moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, wait. And academically, if we want to fit the landscape of where these conferences are going,
mm-hmm.
maybe this isn't just about athletics. Whoa. Mind your own business. Hey, stay out of that. Stay out of that. Don't let. That's not dangerous.
And that's where I have a problem with the Regents.
Listen, this is all hypothetical.
Yeah. We're speculating here.
But it's what I go back to what I said yesterday, because somebody asked me what my response was to this, and this is what I texted them. I said, listen, you have to go back to traditional reporting. Let the AD and the chancellor be the direct report. Let the president be involved if he wants to be. It's secondary, not necessary. Now, then the Board of Regents has to state out loud the role that they play, the role that they should be playing,
mm-hmm.
and what the vision is for the university. Decide whether athletics is the front door to your university, and answer to the enrollment budget shortfall, or let academics act independently and hope athletics gets their act together. And then they'll gravy train later. Not gravy train, it's a negative connotation, but reap the benefits later on. I said, and then act accordingly based on what your aforementioned decision was, right?
But you have to decide on that first.
Yep.
Before you can make a decision.
The president needs to know whatever that decision was.
Yes.
Hey, listen, you're going to have to play the athletics game
Yeah.
if you want to be the president of this university, even though typically these two worlds don't mesh well together. Is this something you're interested in? Let he or she say yay or nay, but let them know what they're walking into.
100%.
This is the expectation.
100%.
And the president needs to know whatever that decision is prior to the hire.
And maybe that's why the hire is taking so long. Maybe. Best case scenario,
We
right?
keep saying that, but history shows you
This
it's
is about
not,
how long it
yeah,
takes.
it's not an inordinate time
But
span.
It also doesn't seem like, and maybe this
Is that the plan? Do you want me to cut and paste that and put that out there? Because that's what has to happen.
Yeah, no, I think that's legitimate because, and I think maybe the reason it seems like it's taking,
And this is taking all the things that I think I know and what I do know. That right there is what has to happen.
yes, because if the Board of Regents can't decide if they want athletics to be a part of academics or if they want to operate separately, then you're never going to have unity of vision.
Well, stop blaming them just for that sole thing, because they did you a solid already. They said we're willing to look the other way and let our athletic director report to the president.
Right. But
let's not act like
that's fine.
They're like, hey, how can we make this as difficult as possible?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But I'm saying
because
they have to cast the vision of what's.
There's just some shaky narratives out there, and
fine. That's fair.
I don't like.
I was going more off of what you said, and they need to make sure that the vision they're casting for what they want for the university.
Because most people that complain about the Board of Regents don't even know what they're supposed to do. And if they did, maybe they would vote different.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those people that's like, oh, I recognize that name, I'm going to vote for that person. Or
Like,
they don't vote for him at all.
If you make it about a popularity money contest,
you're going to end up with bad results.
Doesn't have to be bad. You have to be able to live with the results.
Fair.
Right? Because I get so fed up with this. And I tell my kids this all the time. And when I'm coaching, you know what? Like, the greatest trick ever, not the whole devil thing, but people always say, hey man, life's about, choices. Some of them are good or some of them are bad. Act accordingly. You know what people don't tell you? Can you live with the consequences?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the key. Like, you can make all the dumb decisions you want to,
but if you're okay with the consequences,
if you're cool with the consequences,
it doesn't really matter.
Guess what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if you know what the Board of Regents function is and what they tell you that they want to do, and you're like, oh, okay, hey, now I know. Now I'm handicapped with the facts. I can act accordingly. Then you have to own the outcome.
Yeah.
And we can stop pointing fingers and whispering behind closed doors and saying, well, it's the political game that screwed this up. And why did Ted? Listen, if Ted Carter leaves and you know the mission and the role of the president as it's uniquely defined by the Board of Regents with the parameters that it's supposed to function under, and he leaves, you at least have some sort of a semblance of an idea on what maybe went wrong. Oh, he went to the highest bidder. Oh, maybe it's a better academic outfit. Maybe the conditions that were laid out were this, and this. This is terrible radio unless you're on live stream because I'm pointing at the wall. It's like I'm on a dry erase board. But put the onus back into the methodology so we don't pull stuff out of our ass when we want to cast our little arrows, right? Oh, man, you media, you guys better say what's going on and stop hiding. Listen, most people don't know. They think, but they don't know. And nobody's speculating out loud from a reputation standpoint, because that's not reporting.
Yeah.
Now you can talk about it and have some ideas and say, you know what? Like, the best you can say is people need to get their act together. What specifics do you want? This whole pound of flesh thing for it being everybody else's problem is asinine, because we don't vote. The regents are voted on. It is an elected position. So say to yourself, hey, man, I know I'm pissed at how the BOR is acting. Hey, wait, how did I vote? Was I informed? Did I pull it out of my ass because I felt like I knew the person's name? If not, you're not afforded the luxury to come in at the end and blame the media for not telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
You're not.
That's fair.
You
That's
can't
all
have
fair.
it both ways.
That's all fair. And speaking of living with the consequences, even if we think Trev made a stupid decision, if he can live with the consequences,
that's the key.
That is what it is. Coming up next, we got Mike Sautter here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. Shane was panicking a little bit there because DB and I were having an off-air conversation. He's just yelling, "You're back!" at us over here. We are back.
I did not yell.
Kicking off. No, I was saying Shane was yelling at us.
I did sing a couple of songs.
You
Do you
did.
like my songs?
I sometimes I know what they are, sometimes I don't.
Well, the words were completely made up.
Yeah, I gathered that part.
With arms wide open.
With arms wide that's not made up. Creed, baby.
So hopefully in
August 16th in
that
Chicago.
last
Let's
little
go.
diatribe as we get ready to welcome in our very own Mike Sautter from Hurrdat Sports. Mike, I had a little bit of a
it was a little ranty.
I was a little ranty.
A little ranty.
But I do think I got a good plan for what has to happen in the state of Nebraska. We just got to be willing to hold ourselves as accountable as we want everybody else to be. You know what I mean, Mike? Is that novel? I'm Mike Sautter. No, not listening.
I think he's frozen. He looks frozen to me.
Does he look frozen?
He looks good though. Look at that suit he's wearing.
Let it go.
Everybody just calm down.
Is that what you?
Take a
Okay,
deep
out of
breath.
breath, Brian. I need everybody to calm
Shane, can we get
down.
him on the phone? We're on a huge delay.
No, it might be his Wi-Fi.
Right, but that's why we
God,
get him
he
on the
does look super though.
That's why we get him on the phone though. So that's
Hey,
All right, Mike. We're gonna call you. We're gonna call you. Look at him. He looks legit.
He does. He looks terrific.
Mike, can we call you on the phone? Yep, we're gonna call Mike on the
let's
phone.
go ahead and call him, Shane. Yeah, his Wi-Fi I think in the hotel was probably.
What do you think that sport coat was? Like a
like brand?
Like a 38 long?
Oh, he's probably. I'm gonna give him a little credit. I'm gonna call it a 40.
That's not a 40. No, it might be.
I mean, he's an adult. Like 38's really small.
Yeah.
He's a lean guy, but I would guess 40 long.
He looked good, man.
He did look good.
He looked good.
He's got, his game fits are pretty solid.
Yeah, you know what I'm learning this morning?
Although he does always wear them with tennis shoes, and
iodized salt and the coarse sea salt are vastly different in
flavor.
Yeah,
it's what they do in your water.
It's pretty salty.
Yeah, that'll do
I have
that.
to get a straw. It settles.
Yeah, it does.
The other one dissolves.
Doesn't dissolve as well.
Yeah, Mike, we got you back.
Yeah, I'm here. That's probably on my end. I don't know.
That's all right.
Is it the hotel Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
You look I like the outfit though. You
look
almost
good.
look like an adult.
You look good.
Hey, big game, tie game. That's what it's been all year.
Okay.
All right.
big
So
game.
I know you've looked sharp when you've been representing it at PBA.
Settle a debate real quick. What size is the jacket?
I think I'm a 40 regular most of the time.
I went 38 long. What are the other options?
Well, the only other option would be like a 40 long. And
Yeah,
No, I thought you were going to give me a different number. Like
no,
38
40,
or 42.
40,
40 regular?
yeah,
it's either
not
40 regular or 40 long.
Yeah, 42 is a little too big. I'd have to have that taken in, and I don't want to pay for that when you can just buy it to fit.
So I know Ravi thought you were a little weird, but you sent us a picture. Is this kind of life on the road? You were eating trail mix, plain label, gas station, terrible brand, by the way. But listen, I get it. You probably saved 10 cents until you got the medium meal. Is that standard behavior where there's
it's a nut bar, and it's from Costco, which you buy in bulk, you save even more money. And I brought those with me from home. I wasn't gonna buy that at a gas station for like $2.50 or $3.
Dude, that pack that you got right there is like $3.79 in a gas station.
I know. That's why I just brought them with. I planned ahead.
It's like the knockoff version of a Nutrikind.
I don't even know what we're doing here.
I admire your fortitude, Jerome.
Yeah,
I do.
You got to plan. You got to plan ahead.
I can't live like that.
How you guys doing today? You doing better today than Wednesday? For sure than Wednesday.
Not Ravi. Ravi has digressed.
I've chosen violence, Mike.
He was not happy with some of the social media tweeting in the interview yesterday, so he's a little.
I thought it was a bad look. I thought Trev didn't do himself any favors.
He's a little upset.
Yeah.
Not interested in your opinion about the interim AD, Trev. Don't care. If you want to congratulate your friend, send a text. All right. If he's still taking your calls, I don't know if anybody in Nebraska
Somebody
is.
had a good point. I think it was my man B2. He said, "What if he had to turn in his university phone and didn't have his number?"
Then I guess he's a real great friend of yours, huh, Trev?
Wow.
Also, are we not familiar with DMs? Come on.
I just want to thank you.
This is what we've been on all morning.
What are we doing?
All morning, Jerome.
And then the interview came out. And he's like, nah, it wasn't a big deal. Just thought it was a better job. Cool, bud.
We needed to do something.
Hey, so Jerome, what was it like sitting through
What's up, Mike?
Penn State in Indiana up close?
It was awful. Oh, it was so bad. Like, and it just happened to be the night game, right? The very last game of the day. And these dudes, somehow Penn State had a chance to win the game at the end. I don't know how. Probably because Indiana's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what? And then Ace Baldwin takes a horrible 3-point shot when the game's tied. Like, why are you taking a 3? You haven't made a 3 all game. The whole team has been terrible. Just get to the rim and get fouled at least.
Sometimes there's a reason you're open, isn't it?
Right. Like, it was such a bad possession. And I don't know. I will tell you, I do like Coach Rhodes, and better watch out for. I think Penn State's kind of coming a little bit.
I was trying to convince Ravi of that, and he's frowning his face up, and he's like, "Yeah, your trendy pick got bounced."
No, that's not what I said.
Good job, DB.
That is not what I said. Don't put that on me. I said Nebraska's playing Indiana, and I was like, and that's what you wanted, which is true.
You
I would have rather played Penn State.
That's what I said. I said I'd rather have Penn State
because of Indiana's 5 in a row.
I would rather play Penn State because they
and X is back playing consistently.
Right.
You know, I think Xavier he turns it over a little, but he does give them another ball handler.
Yeah, Nebraska's 1-1 against Indiana, or I guess he only played in one of the games Nebraska beat Indiana this year, so it helps to have him, but they still can't shoot. I mean,
that's the thing.
You just pack it in, and it could go. It could go about 85-70, just like the first 2 games went. There were 85-70 and 86-70 against Indiana this year. It's just I don't know how they brought Mike Woodson back, to be honest.
It's a good question.
Wow, is that because he appears to be a little disengaged during games?
Like he doesn't know what he's even doing.
No, that can't be the
there's
case.
A lot of
maybe
there's a lot of Patrick Ewing vibes there.
Maybe it's his delivery.
Yeah,
is it his delivery?
No, like when you're watching him on the bench, it's a lot like Patrick Ewing. I swear. Like
I get.
It doesn't seem like he's doing a whole lot.
With you. I get it. But he's like, he's nosy, so he goes and stands as close as he can get. Like, are you hearing anything, Sautter?
You can't hear him say anything. I don't know, 100 feet, 200 feet away from him last night. And thank God they have Kenya Hunter, who we know from his Nebraska days, because he was the one doing all the coaching.
Hey, he's pretty demonstrative too.
Right. So it looked like him and the other assistant, who I don't know, but they were doing all the coaching last night. It's a weird dynamic. And I guess if you want Indiana to remain in the bottom half of the Big Ten, just keep them there, I guess, or whatever. Not bottom half, but
Mike
not
Sautter
bottom half,
calling his shot.
But
they're going to underperform as long as Mike Woodson's there. I think that's fair.
Right. Yeah, I feel pretty good about saying that. And Trey Galloway's likely out again, something with maybe a meniscus. He's probably going to be listed probable like he was last night, but he did not play last night. And something with well, let's put it this way. There's something with a knee, and then something that may or may not have happened on campus that is weird. That's a rumor going around, but yeah.
So what are you expecting? Does Purdue has looked a little vulnerable for stretches at times. And I know they kind of pulled away from Wisconsin, but then apparently Purdue bet on Wisconsin, so Purdue got close late last week. Do they look vulnerable? I know we don't trust Michigan State, but they sure are capable.
Yeah, Michigan State played, I thought, pretty dang well yesterday. And, Tom Izzo, we never count him out, I would say. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Can we be fair with that? Also, Minnesota just doesn't have any depth, so that definitely hurt. Tyson Walker was really, really good for Michigan State.
Boy, when he gets on a heater, he's something else. He can control a game. He can control a game.
He got downhill a couple of times that just ended the game. It was close, and then got downhill. I think it was like 4 minutes left, and just took off, boom, and then they got a rebound, came back, did it again, and it was ball game. I don't know if they got enough. Michigan State does to hang with them to beat Purdue today, but again, it's the 11 a.m. game.
They got to keep it. They got to keep it around 70.
Right. Michigan State's already played a game, and yesterday was 11 a.m., so maybe they have a little bit of an advantage. And that's kind of the thing with Nebraska tonight, too, is they haven't played in a week almost.
Rest or rust?
Yeah, but I'll say this. Nebraska is 4-1 in games where they have had more than 4 days off this year. So that's positive. I mean, they are older, right? And they're kind of get banged up a little bit.
That sounds like a Coach Nate stat.
Yeah, Nebraska I found that own stat of my own, by the way, on Sunday.
I'm not knocking the hustle, man. Easy. Simmer down.
I'm just saying. I found that on Sunday after they beat Michigan, which is, oh my God. Like, when's that coming that he's not the coach there anymore?
I was surprised we didn't hear anything last weekend.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was, wow.
You can't
body
bring him
language
back,
awful.
right? You can't.
No
bring him.
way.
I mean, you can't.
Did you watch them yesterday?
Not the whole thing. I wasn't interested. Wow.
Their body language, even on the bench and stuff, they didn't want to be there. They didn't care. It was like Doug McDaniel looks like a bad teammate. So
why is he allowed to play? By the way,
Nobody.
Like,
I mean,
what?
I never bought the explanation.
Am I crazy? Like it was a quote unquote academic deal. You can only play at home, but Minnesota famously not Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I guess it was an academic thing.
Allegedly.
I feel like it was probably. Yeah, I feel like it was probably more of a missing class thing than like failing classes thing, because someone else probably doing homework for him anyway.
Since when do universities care about attendance?
Mike Jerome Sautter here for slandering student athletes.
No. Come on, Damon.
Come on. Let's talk about Ohio State for a second here. Are you buying into?
I'm gonna get you some. You go eat a bowl of Lucky Charms or something, man, and invest in the rainbow, man. Be happy.
He's gonna buy the knockoff Lucky Charms because they're 14 cents cheaper.
Michigan scored 57 points though. Like you can't.
That's not very many.
You can't.
Sautter, are you buying into the Diebler effect for Ohio State?
Yeah, I am. They played really well. I guess in the second half yesterday.
Yeah, stretched them.
I didn't think. I mean, Iowa. That's like you got to be a little disappointed, right? One just losing that first game. I guess you feel maybe a little disappointed. Ohio State. Like, he's not getting that. Diebler should get the job for the job that he's done to put them back, like, on the bubble. But he's not getting that job, right? Like, they're going to throw some money at Dusty May or someone like that, or Darren DeVries or something. And then.
Hey, hands off of D-Rock until Mac retires, all right? Leave him alone.
Good luck with that.
Unless he retires tomorrow. Yeah, I understand.
It's funny. It's like, hey,
he's getting a big job before.
Leave a cool $1 million per year minimum on the table until Creighton.
Exactly.
Are we good with that?
Yeah.
D-Rock? And he's like, yeah, okay, man, no problem.
Man, listen, $1 million a year goes a long way.
Minimum raise
in Des Moines, Iowa. All right, whatever.
Minimum $1 million a raise.
So what's he making at Drake? Like 1.5, probably.
Maybe something.
It would,
like I'm just saying,
it would be a
1.5 goes
It'd be at least twice that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm saying 1.5 goes a long way in Des Moines.
Hey, if Jerome Tang if Jerome Tang gets the Louisville job, which could happen, which I would love to see that. That would be fascinating, wouldn't it?
And he acted like he was already got Kenny Payne's notes because, boy, Iowa State put it on them.
Yeah. So if that happens, then D-Rock was in the conversation very deeply for the K-State job the last time. So, maybe.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually just waiting on Al Huss to put together enough of a head coach resume for when Mac retires.
Huss is a stud too. I think Mac, he'd be cool.
I think he'd be on board for that. But sorry, this isn't all about.
Do you call Darren D-Rock because you can't spell Darren correctly, Mike?
Yes,
no,
I do.
I call him D-Rock just because that's what everyone calls him.
How cool is it to be watching Drake play games and they're actually doing real-time NBA scouting reports on Tucker?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because if you go 5 years ago, his AAU summer, you'd be like, there's no way you would think that. I mean, yes, he was just like one-trick pony shooter guy. Well,
he was pretty cold-blooded. I mean, my man was pulling up from half court.
Yes, I mean,
he was. I told Sautter, I was like, this dude is nuts.
That part, but he couldn't really defend, and he's still young and all that. So his maturity is great. Like it's pretty. How about this? It is, it's really cool to see all these dudes having just tremendous success right now at the college level.
Yeah,
it is really, really cool, and I'm very happy for them. All the players representing Nebraska and going out and doing well. I mean, Chucky yesterday was fantastic. Didn't miss a shot. Had 8 assists. By the way, watch out for Wisconsin.
William Kyle the third, outstanding. Well, Wisconsin had a stretch against Purdue in the first half where I'm like, is this the number 6 ranked Wisconsin that
we thought
should have been like 12th or 13th? They're capable, especially when they get a third score. Like Wisconsin has some parts, but sometimes they just look disinterested.
Dude, yesterday they could not miss. It was unbelievable what they did yesterday. I mean, Maryland had no shot. There's nothing you can do. It was Jameer Young started hot for them, and then they were 16 of 25 from 3 in the game. That's pretty ridiculous.
Good. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Chucky had 8 assists. That tells you how much dudes are hitting shots.
You know who drives me crazy though is AJ Storr takes some terrible shots, but when he's on a heater, I get it. But there are times, man, he's a little too ball dominant for me. It drives me up the wall.
He was 6 of 11 years. They legitimately could not miss yesterday, and they are super dangerous. They're like they're playing before Nebraska the second time, right? Just killing, hitting shots, everything. And yesterday reminded me of watching them handle Nebraska and Madison, how they just shot so well. I don't know if you can keep that up for 3 straight games. It'd be kind of hard to do. But that was scary, because if you get that, your Northwestern gets them today. Good luck to Northwestern. Like if that's what.
Wow, Cinderella's she's not going to get her shoe back. I mean, this run from Northwestern, I don't know if you've read in the national media, man.
Of course,
it's incredible.
I mean, this amazing run with an injured roster and Boo Booey putting this team on his back.
Whatever, they've been good all year.
I mean, kind of. Thank you. Okay,
they've been good for a couple of years. For a minute. Like this isn't
a couple of years.
Like we just have to be okay with the fact Northwestern's pretty good at basketball. Like that's fine.
These last 2,
they've been pretty good.
Yeah, they've won 40-some games in the last 2 years.
That's a good basketball team right now. I don't know what else to tell you.
Coach Collins has done a pretty good job. Like, at what point can we quit saying that they've overachieved? And that's Nebraska clearly has done better. That's why I didn't get the whole co-coach of the year thing. I get it, Painter, man, super dominant this year, all that. But for the expectation level, they matched expectations from the outside. And Nebraska overly exceeded expectations from the outside. So like, why are we doing the co-coach of the year thing? Hoiberg and what they've done this year has been remarkable. It's been fantastic.
Mike Sautter here for being voice of the fans.
Mike, I want to ask you about something that DB and I talked about on, I think it was Monday. Coming off of
DB?
Yeah, UDB. I don't know any others.
Sometimes using a derogatory term, but I think it means it's two different words.
Think I'm swearing. DB.
You talking to a ghost?
No, that's GD.
Exactly, Bo.
No, so Mike, I was talking to, and you talking about the high school kids coming out of the state reminded me of this. We were talking about Omaha after they lost in the semifinals, and I wanted to ask you about this because I think it's a little bit of a misstep from Coach Crutchfield to not take advantage of the fact that Nebraska pretty consistently, at the very least, puts out very good Summit League type players, as we've seen from the South Dakota States and the North Dakota States and the whoever else of the worlds. How do you view his roster construction strategy, considering what is available to him locally?
Well, I think he wants a certain type of player.
Long guards.
I think that's a mistake.
Long guards. Like you have to fit the metric number there. Which, hey, St. Thomas has had a pretty hell of a year at Northern Colorado.
Yeah, he's like 6'7". Is that not a long enough guard?
Yeah,
is that not big enough?
Well, they could have got him on
that
the
got
comeback.
that got interesting down the stretch, though. You think should have gotten interesting, but it didn't.
Yeah, you think.
Again, that's what I mean, though. Like that St. Thomas is a great example. Like if that guy doesn't fit your profile, who does?
He's also maybe one guy that doesn't need to be. I mean, there's something to be said for, and I've said this with Iowa Western before too, of guys that just need to not be in Omaha anymore. They need to kind of get away. He might have been that guy. I don't know the full details of that, but St. Thomas is a guy that would work perfectly for them. I mean, Frankie's the only guy that could really score the ball for Omaha down the stretch, and one guy isn't.
He could have used some help.
Get it done. Yeah, he could have used a lot of help, and
I told.
Hey, we haven't talked about the ACC Newcomer of the Year, Hunter Salas, yet either, which has been.
Well, I assumed Hunter wasn't ever going to Omaha, but I get what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm just saying
just in general, high school, yeah.
I know, and I get it, and that's the third portal. That's the third consecutive Steve Forbes open market guy that has made the all conference team. Forbes knows what he's looking for,
and he's probably going to be the third guy drafted too. So he knows what he's doing.
I would love to see him wait a year, but I already listen. I know what's coming, but
yeah,
the NBA draft is tough, man.
It's hard to turn down. I mean, it is. It's hard to turn down.
If you're gonna be a first round pick, you probably gotta go.
I've seen him mocked at the end of the first. I think there's variance. I think there's variance on how people view him, but I've seen Hunter mocked at the end of the first round.
If you're guaranteed a first round pick, you go do it. The second round, you're not guaranteed money, so
right.
You maybe come back and stay. So he's in that middle ground. Like he's gonna have to make a decision on what to do.
He's right on the edge there.
I mean he'll make a decision. He's got enough good people around him, I think. So.
Hey, by the way, that was a great interview with Sweet Chuck. Or Charlie Easley, my bad.
Oh, thanks. The other day?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Talk about a dude that just played tail off. He's hurt and banged up. It's unreal.
You could tell in his delivery. Right? Like he just count on me, man. Whatever I got to do.
Thank God Omaha didn't recruit anybody from South Dakota State.
Would
fine.
You stop it?
I'm just saying it's gotta be really
right.
It's gotta be really hard to watch kids from your state win a conference title with somebody else. That's all I'm saying.
Enjoy the day, Jerome.
Hey, have fun, bud.
Yep. You're right.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. And we're brought to you by our friends at the War Horse Casino and Sportsbook. Told you I was going to start telling you about that prop card challenge, and I'm going to today because you can still qualify for the prop card challenge through the 28th of this month. It's a $100,000 prop card challenge for the semifinals and finals of the tournament games. 25 prop questions. Get 18 or more correct to win cash or free play. Earn entries between now and March 28th with a $50 sportsbook wager or 50 points earned on slots or racing. You will make your prop card selections online and activate those entries in person between April 1st and April 5th at the Warhorse Casino in Lincoln. That's Warhorse Sportsbook, no bets, no glory. Any questions, go to warhorsecasino.com. What are you laughing about over there? You okay?
Well, our Pete Ryan asked me if I was going to join the Pettiness Club. I mean, I'm out on that for now.
For now, there's time.
I mean, give it time.
There's still time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you over to the dark side.
Remember on Tuesday, there was a couple prevailing thoughts on why I thought, there's no way. Can't
Wednesday.
But
no, it was Wednesday when the news broke.
Oh yeah, because it was the same day.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was
a weird day. It was a long day.
I was on pins and pine needles.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of folks that are going to need new jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Because whoever comes in as the guy is going to bring in his own people.
That's the part I think that I
have the hardest part with right now.
Because I thought that would ultimately be
matter to him more.
Yep.
Be the trump card of I got to stay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard when you're in a position where a lot of people rely on you, right? Because you have to, or you should consider how you're. But again, if he can live with those consequences,
yeah.
Now that sucks. Just plain and simple.
If he could easily live with those consequences.
Yeah, if he weighed those consequences, he's like, nah, I'm cool.
Stuff like that typically catches up with you, though.
Yeah, if you don't treat people very well. And I'm not saying that while he's at the job, he didn't treat people well, because I don't know. And it seems like he did based on a handful of social media posts I saw. Again, that's very anecdotal. But if you're very easily able to live with the consequences of like, I just put a bunch of people out of work with my decision, a decision that you're trying to convince me that your heart was telling you to stay and your head was telling you to go. That's what he says in the Sam McKewon article.
I 100% believe that.
That's fine. And that's fine. But you
still did what you did.
You still did what you did. And at no point did your head say, like, from your calculating, logical point of view, I'm going to put a lot of people out of work here. Was that not part of the equation, or were you just okay with it? Because it's one or the other, right? Yeah. It's only one of those two things.
Definitely a fair question.
You either didn't consider it or you decided you were okay with it.
Yeah, that's kind of the
and that's a tough pill to swallow.
That's the cross to bear in a position of leadership like that.
Because you bring in your own people, and the next guy is going to bring in his own people or her own people. That's what happens. It's the same thing with coaching staffs, right?
Be interesting too, because they'll well, I should say definitely, but they'll get a new athletic director before they get a new president.
Probably, yeah, I would imagine. It's easier to hire that job, and typically they don't stay open nearly as long.
Yeah. But you gotta go get a standing person, probably somebody with some experience.
Yeah. So a couple of names that I have heard pop out, which aren't.
Is this through the grapevine?
No, just speculation, not sourced or anything. But guys with Nebraska connections that have had high level administrative experience are Ed Stewart, and Garth Glissman.
Yeah.
Obviously, both played at Nebraska. Ed was with the Big 12 for a long time. Now he's out at USC, basically running football out at USC. Garth was with the NBA for a while. Now he was the director of basketball operations at the SEC. Now he's the associate AD in charge, or associate commissioner in charge of basketball for the SEC. I would imagine most people would lead Ed in that situation because of the football experience versus the basketball experience, but Garth is going to be. Did you see
the time? That's unsolicited.
I did not see the time. Garth is a really smart guy.
Sorry about that.
I think both of those names deserve consideration.
That'd be a big first-time job for Garth, and I love him.
It would be.
I hired him for 3 years in a row to run. I was running a kids organization when he was a student athlete at UNO.
Yeah,
he's always had really good leadership qualities. Matter of fact, I kind of let him go on cruise control. He was so good.
He's a super high-level executive type guy. It's a different job, though.
Hired some good guys like young Shanley, Andrew, not Scott.
I coached against him while he was coaching high school ball in Lincoln.
When everybody was mad at him for getting players that were better than everybody else.
We beat him, so that's fine. I'm okay with it.
He's aggressive. It'd be a big-time first job for him. So
Ed probably makes a little more sense because he's in the athletic department right now, and he's running football right now at a pretty major university.
If you ask me today, like What time is it? 9:50.
9:35.
I think you got to go back and make a run at Pollard.
I like Pollard a lot. I always have. I think he does a really good job. I think he's measured and smart.
I think you have to go make a
which
run
I'm
at
totally
Jamie
okay
Pollard.
with. Am I crazy? Listen, I know am I crazy to think they may take a shot at like a big fish and try and steal somebody?
You don't think Pollard's a big fish?
I think Nebraska's a clear better job than Iowa State.
But he is such a good athletic
He is.
director.
No, I think he is a big fish, but it's a logical move. Like Iowa State to Nebraska is a logical move in terms of jobs. Right? Does that make sense? Like Nebraska's a bigger athletic department. It's a bigger job than Iowa State.
Yeah.
So I don't think people would look at that and say, lateral move for Jamie Pollard. Right? I think they'd be like, oh, yeah, he took a bigger job. That makes sense. I'm talking about somebody that would be making.
Careful.
Okay.
Has their basketball program been better?
Yeah.
Better conference?
No. Big 12's not a better conference. They're a better basketball conference.
Yes.
But the Big 12 as a
hang
whole.
on, just humor
okay.
me.
Yeah.
Better basketball conference?
Sure.
Okay.
This
Is
year.
it tough basketball conference. It's been a better basketball conference.
Couple years,
in the
yeah.
Big Ten.
Yeah.
Who had further to come? Iowa State or Nebraska with being relevant in football? Who's been more relevant?
Iowa State.
Okay. So that's take names aside. I always look at job done within, because if you don't do that, then D2 guys wouldn't get D1 jobs. NAI guys wouldn't get D2 jobs.
No,
Like
okay.
the job that he's done relative to the university can sometimes compensate for when we get into the lateral versus non-lateral.
No, but listen to what you just said. They're relative to the university. That's what I mean when I say Nebraska's a bigger, better job than Iowa State.
But it hasn't been.
The teams haven't been better. That doesn't mean it's not a bigger, better job.
Doesn't matter. I think you saying that is part of the problem. At some point, you better be self-aware enough to recognize who, what, and where you are in the landscape of what's going on. You've had 5 athletic directors since Nebraska's joined the Big Ten.
Is Nebraska?
Stop.
Hold on.
Thinking
Hold
like
on.
that.
Does Nebraska have more resources than Iowa State?
Doesn't matter.
Well, how does it not matter?
Because more money doesn't make you better.
No, but that's part of the equation.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We're not going to agree on this.
We're not.
No.
Because it's so short-sighted. You go get the best person available. You don't box yourself into saying, I'm this, I'm that. This is what we are. Because what happens is you limit your scope. What you start with is, what am I looking for? Not who we are.
We're talking about two different things.
No,
right
we're
now.
not.
No, we are, because you're talking about Jamie Pollard as a candidate for the AD job at Nebraska.
I'm talking about the job and the stability of what the athletic director position represents has been done better at Iowa State than it's been done at Nebraska.
Because of Jamie Pollard.
I feel some goalpost shifting here. I'm going to lose my mind.
No. I'm defining what I meant.
Okay, let me ask it to you this
Okay.
way. Just a simple yes or no will
Okay.
do. Has the athletic director position at Nebraska been a good job?
I think it is a good job, yes.
No, it's not what I said, Ravi. Has it been a good job?
What do you mean by that?
Has it been a position that people look at and they go, hey, that's something I aspire to want to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, you do.
No, I really don't.
You wouldn't have 5 of them if it was.
That's not necessarily true. How many football or basketball teams that we think are good jobs run through things because there's other things that there's other factors in place?
Yeah, guess what? It may not be the job that we think it is at the end of the day.
I think being in the Big Ten matters.
Do you know what people look at for qualifications as a good job?
What's that?
Stability.
Sometimes. What?
If you're going to look at it like that, then don't be mad at Trev for taking money and prestige.
I'm not mad at taking money and prestige. I'm mad that he didn't stay and fight.
Okay.
If he says, hey, I took the money, I took the prestige, all right.
I think so. I think a clear indication of like the direction we need to move is understand what you are currently.
Okay, that's fine.
It has not been a good job. It should be a spectacular job. You better find a way to bridge the gap and reconcile the two. That's how you go get your guy.
We'll talk to Matt Vrzal coming up next. Wrapping up the show on a Friday, wrapping up the week as we always do on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. And we are joined by our good friend, Matt Vrzal. Verz, how are you this morning?
Good, boys. How you doing?
I'm good. Are you on the move or are you at work?
No, I'm at work.
No. How's the morning going?
We got catering today.
Yeah.
So I've been here since 3:30.
Oh, is that all?
Oh.
Is that all? Do you need me to do anything for you, or are we good?
I need you to be a nice person, not the mean person that you are.
Is he being mean to you too, Verz? He's being mean to me this morning too. I don't like it.
He's mad because I called him.
I brought him 700 yards of aluminum foil because I've never seen anybody use more aluminum foil than him as a secondary gift for his birthday. But I'm the bad guy.
You're
a mean person.
Okay.
I want the state of Nebraska to know you're a mean person.
Using the word dumb,
but you are smarter than 90% of the boards of regents, so I'll give you that much.
Oh boy,
that's not a super high bar there.
Using the word dumb does not make me mean.
That's hate speech. I could sue you.
It doesn't make you nice.
You should have seen what he sent me.
Yeah, I can't help it. You got different friends than I do. You're boys.
It's not okay. Matt,
love you.
Hey, so, and I dreaded to ask you this because I know you can go off for a while. But were you? What was your first emotion?
In my life, I've learned this thing. Okay, I can handle losing. Right, I can handle being beat. I can handle people exiting my life. Okay. If I keep it in the context that it's in, the thing that I cannot handle is when the adults lose games for kids, when the perceived adults force somebody that is willing to give everything in their life to their alma mater, to their university, but then you provide him no help and no leadership. And I get it. People can come at me with that. He quit. He left. Everybody's got a point. Everybody's got a point where enough is enough. And you found out where Trev Alberts was. And I can't fault him. I think the leadership in the Board of Regents is a joke. I think the fact that politicians above them meddle in it and try to do things that could potentially get Nebraska, like their accreditation, revoked, I think we should really examine who and how we vote. That's the God's honest truth. It's embarrassing. Like, we've watched up until, like, I see Rhule's vision, eliminate Rhule and crew from this next statement. I've watched some embarrassing football at the University of Nebraska for the past 20 years. I've never been more embarrassed than I've been about the way that regent group operates. Because for August to today, however long that stretch of time is, you've known your president is leaving. You've known. But you can't get out and handpick your guy. You can't get out and handpick your lapdog to go into that spot so you can do dumb things with the school. You're that stupid. Because business people can be really smart in business. I know a lot of dumb people that own a lot of great businesses. I really do. But now you're bringing your stupidity to and you're affecting the university. His statement, like what he made, Nebraska has to get, unity of vision. He's telling you right there that people are not all going in the same direction. There's people that have ulterior motive. There's people that don't want good for Nebraska. They want good for themselves. And shame on all of them, even Jack. Shame on all of them. Because you're putting people in a spot where they walk away from somewhere that they love. And I know people can get after me. I don't care. I really don't. But that's a big statement to do that. Like, you have to be almost inept to do it. And if you didn't have to raise $300,000 evidently to run for Board of Regent, I'd think about it. But so if any rich people out there want to sponsor me for this, I'll do it.
Hey, your jokes over the last 2 years with me about running for the Board of Regents aren't so funny anymore.
I'll go in there. Hey, I'll go in there and raise high hell.
Oh, Lord.
because my give and F meter is very low right now. It's right ahead of my give and F meter. So
I mean, those aren't.
it's just enough is enough of this crap, man. Warren Buffett lives in Omaha, 50th and Dodgers, billionaire. When asked why he doesn't give money to the University of Nebraska in any form, his statement, I don't give money to poorly run businesses. So if you just think for a millisecond, hey, maybe if we get our S in a group, that billionaire that lives 45 minutes away from where we're at may give us $100 million if we just get it together. What a novel concept. Let's give this a run and see what happens. No guarantees, but you know what? We'd probably be a better organization if we did it. At least we get on his radar, because he ain't giving his kids nothing. They're getting $10 million. I'd be pissed as hell at that. But he's got extra. He's got spare to give out. He can only give so much to Gates. So let's give it a run. See what happens.
So safe to say the short answer was anger. That was your first emotion?
Nope, frustration.
Okay.
It was. I was shaking. When I get frustrated, I shake.
Oh, I've seen it.
And I was like visibly twitching. I guess I had to leave for a while.
Was there any part of you? I know that your main frustration and anger is with the Board of Regents. Was there any part of you that was disappointed in Trev?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. That, like, former athletes, just people in general, some need like an overseer, somebody to check in with, not to look for an attaboy, just like somebody to bounce ideas off of.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's what I'm doing. How do you think this is going? What do you want to see us change? They need that, right? Because they want to go then and say, you give me your vision, I'm going to go execute, I'm going to check in with you, and you tell me how I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they need that base point, right? For me, I don't operate that way. So I would like to see Trev just be like, hey, you know what? If you're not going to give me a president, then I'm doing it my way. I'm going to do it this way. This is my vision. This is where I see it going, and here I go. You was trying to toe the company line too much.
Mm-hmm.
I would just had him say, hey, for 7 months, if you ain't find a president, guess what? I'm going to view myself as the czar of sports, and I'm probably not going to answer to your next president because you left me out here on an island, and I'm on an island. I'm going to do it my way. That would be the only thing that frustrated me about it, but that's just not in some people to do. That's just not the way that they operate, and I get that. I texted Trev.
I know.
Thank you for everything you did.
Hey, so I'm surprised that, like, at the end of the day, with regardless of how fed up he was, did you think the people that were going to need jobs in the future was going to weigh more heavily? Or do you think it did and there was still the breaking point?
I think the fact that we're on 6 months, man. You can't make a decision in 6 months. You can't pick your patsy.
It's not
You can't pick your
atypical.
patsy.
It's not atypical, though. It has to be deeper
But
than that.
So we expect our coaches, right, or our athletic directors. We expect Trev. Okay, you got to have a black book ready for when John Cook retires, for when Matt Rhule leaves to go to Penn State, for when Will Bolt leaves to go wherever.
Stop it.
But the athletic director is expected to have that black book, correct?
Yes.
So then why can't we expect the Board of Regents to have that black book ready? Who's your next president? Who's your next chancellor? Everybody's got to have some names because we got to get this. You're just floating out of nowhere. You have no leadership. You have no vision. You have an interim chancellor. Like you don't have people.
Mm-hmm.
Or not interim chancellor. You get what I'm saying. I'm getting pissed.
Yeah. Interim president.
Get your people in line. Prepare. I find that we are much more efficient and we do better financially because I know June and July are coming. So we'll buy 1,000 pounds of hamburger because guess what happens to the price of hamburger in June and July? It goes up through the roof. So I take the hit in May and I throw that stuff in the freezer. I prepare for that. I'm prepared for bad things to happen. Any machine I have in here, I have an extra part of it somewhere. So if it breaks, I call the repair guy. I run over to the storage unit. I grab the part. I give it to him. He puts it in and we're going. We are moving. We may be down for 3-4 hours, but we're back.
Verz, do you think
the region's not prepared for it?
You mentioned the guys that operate in a certain way, and you would have liked to see Trev kind of take over, like, hey, I guess I'm the captain now. I'm doing my thing. Do you think, just from what you've seen, that Matt Rhule is wired that way in absence of a Trev there?
He doesn't. That doesn't faze him at all. He knows what he wants to get accomplished. What's going to create drama is everybody's now going to bring their candidate. Fans going to say, John Cook. Well, that would be the dumbest thing ever, to take your best coach and move him into a role he's never done. Maybe call Terry Pettit, see if Terry Pettit's interested. But I think Brendan Sty is a great candidate. I would make Garth Glissman the president. I would not make him the athletic director. I would beg to call Ed Stewart and say, I'm really sorry that we offended you the last time around, but I think that bridge is not going to be repaired. I would talk to Brendan Sty, who knows all the drama and the BS in there, and that goes around. Dave Remington, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be the guy, but it would be awesome if he was. But those are guys I think that are qualified to do the job, right? And they have a tie, so they know. Sty would be probably my favorite because he knows all the inner working BS. He knows all of it. So now he can come in and kind of navigate it, and then you just trick them into making them think it was their idea. That's what you have to do now. Hey, this is a great idea you came up with. That wasn't my idea. Sure it was. We talked about it last week on the golf course. And then it comes through to fruition.
That's Matt Vrzal, former Husker owner, Pison's Pizzeria. Verz, we appreciate it as always.
Hey, you tell Damon you bet against this kid?
Oh, we didn't get into that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You
I owe Verz some money, too.
Well, looks like we'll all be eating lunch together because he owes me too, Matty. Yeah, I forgot about that.
All right, first we'll catch you next.
Bet against this kid.
I did. What are you going to do? See you, Verz.
See you, boy.
That's Hurrdat Sports Radio. We'll be back on Monday.